What is up, RotoGrinders? Welcome to the NFL Pick 6 Show, Week 9, halfway home, more or less. Usual suspects to the absolute best in the business. You got John Daigle, ETR, Established the Run, Rich Hribar, Sharp Football Analysis, TJ's Lurch behind the glass. He's going to be tilting his Blue Jays for sure. Good luck tonight to Toronto and the Dodgers. Sure, hope everybody has a good time here on a Wednesday night. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications if you're watching us on the YouTube for Week 9. Yeah, 4 more teams on bye. 4 teams on bye. We have Cleveland, the Jets, the Eagles, the Bucks. 6 teams coming back. Lamar's going to be back most likely on a Thursday night. We're not talking about Thursday night. We're not talking about Sunday night. We're talking about the main slate. The main slate, an extra game this week. 11 games. 8 early. Don't like that. 8 early, 3 late. It's also trade season. Rich, I know you always say, the NFL no fun league. Is everybody wants to make their trades. Everybody's waiting for David Njoku to get traded, Breece Hall to go to the Patriots. Are any real trades actually going to happen? Jacoby Myers is doing his best. He's trying his damnedest to get out of Las Vegas. If you're the czar, you're the czar of NFL fun. You want to give me the trade that you want to make happen, and give me the one that's like most likely to happen. Are we going to have any fun?
We might. We've had, I don't know if we'd label them fun, but we have had moves the last couple of years to the deadline, like where I've had to rewrite some like worksheet game and stuff. I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, maybe it was 3, losing track of time in my old age. When Hawkinson got traded, I had finished the Lions game and he got traded to the Vikings. And I was like, oh, great. And, we had a couple receivers, like remember like last year, Hopkins went to the Chiefs. We had Amari go to the Bills. No one realized that Amari had quit at football, though, at that point. But maybe we'll get fun. I mean, obviously, the dream is just Breece Hall going like somewhere, anywhere, right? Like anywhere competitive. Like that's what everyone wants. Kenneth Walker would be there, but he's not going to get traded because they're a competitive football team. Like those are the fun ones, obviously. It's going to be like some boring dude, though. It won't even be like Jacoby Myers. It'll be like some just ancillary wide receiver 4 like goes to some team, and we'll be like, oh, they're getting a dude, and then like it'll be like the Hopkins thing last year.
Trade deadline's Tuesday officially, just for what it's worth. So it's not necessarily due, but it may impact this week, but probably something that impacts next week. Just wanted to touch on it and mention it. Daigle, do you have any season-long trade thoughts?
First of all, I'm pretty sure TJ just made a cameo because the Blue Jays hit a home run to start the game against the Dodgers, and then no trade thoughts really. I just always temper my expectations and go in with the worst thoughts for the trade deadline, assuming the Roy Williams deal will never happen again, so we don't have to worry about trades impacting much. But I am excited. It's going to be a fun week, even during initial research for this slate. Lots of 50-point team totals, lots of 50-point overall totals, lots of high team totals here, some really good sneaky quarterback matchups as well, a fun movie we watched too, so should be a good show.
Yeah, later on in the show, we'll be talking about weapons. Shout out to Daigle. Daigle took down our contest, so he'll be assigning us a new movie to watch and review. And next week, yeah, it is weird as far as the 11 games. A lot of road favorites is another thing I noticed. A lot of road favorites. Kansas City is a 3-point favorite at Buffalo. Chicago is now a road favorite at Cincinnati. We may lose Joe Flacco. We're not really sure what's going to happen there. He's currently questionable. That's dicey. Indianapolis is a favorite at Pittsburgh. San Fran's a favorite at the Giants. Monster favorite the Chargers at Tennessee. So I see a lot of favorites, a lot of big totals as well. We lost. We'll be talking about it. We lost Scatterboo. What a bummer. Scatterboo is done. Tyrone Tracy will be one of the pieces at least people will be talking about throughout the week. Shout out to Philadelphia, by the way. Philadelphia has the rep being the worst fan. Scatterboo is so likable. Even the Philadelphia fans couldn't get excited about Scatterboo.
He's got big Philadelphia energy.
Yes,
yeah. At some point in his career, they're definitely
he's got that Charlie Day energy. Yeah,
I can see that for sure. That's a good point. We're expecting Nakua. Nakua probably comes back this week.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Expectations are that Brock Bowers comes back this week.
Mm-hmm.
JJ McCarthy might have to come back this week. It's a miracle, right? He's healthy all of a sudden. That ankle sprain. Carson Wentz is done, and let's fully dive in. What we do here, we don't fully dive in. We talk about one game, and then another game, and another game. 3 main games Daigle, you set the stage for us with our 3 games. Of course, the chat likes to have some fun and guess what they are. I'm not sure if they've been on it or not. I'm not sure if anybody's gone 3 for 3, but the first one we're talking about tonight, San Fran at the aforementioned Giants. No Scattaboo. Big bummer there. 48.5 is the total. And I guess we don't know who's quarterbacking for San Fran either on a Wednesday night. That's still kind of up in the air here, Daigle?
It is, and I don't think it matters. I think they'll have success regardless, as the Giants defense has shown us in allowing everyone to have success. I'll start with the Jackson Dart side, though, and the overall meta with building lineups for Week 9. Last week, we talked about jamming in the correct running backs, trying to find the cheap options to spin down for. There were numerous ways to win last week. I think Justin Fields and Mason Taylor ultimately took down a lot of tournaments. Some combination of Derrick Henry and Breece Hall. Saquon Barkley was played as well as a running back that popped off. But ultimately, it was about spending down for quarterback and wide receivers. I even saw the Millie Maker. It was CJ Stroud doubles because those receivers with CJ Stroud were cheap at least. And so it allowed you to insulate an offense. And I say all that because I think when you're zooming out for Week 9, we're going to be looking for that again and trying to find cheap players, wide receivers in particular, because there are a lot of great expensive plays on this slate, wide receivers included. And I think that naturally a lot of those cheap options, the chalk, are going to come from this game. Most based on injuries, based on players getting fully healthy. And that begins with Jackson Dart, who I think is going to be the cash game quarterback. The QB5 and the full starts he's made this year, mostly because of what he brings for the rushing upside. But it's also because of what this Niners defense has become and just continuing to lose players, impactful players, their best players on defense every single week. And because of that, they're now teetering on the league's lowest rate of creating pressure. Jackson Dart this year, when kept upright, has thrown 7 of his 8 touchdowns from a clean pocket. And so when we're looking at the players we can play with Dart, it naturally then leads to Tyrone Tracy, who's going to be the fill-in for Cam Scattaboo and a cash game option, probably the highest roster player in tournaments as well, only 5,100 on DraftKings. You have to tell me what he is on FanDuel.
6K.
And then 6K? Yeah, still way too cheap. And then the receivers as well. Like the Niners we talked about last week without Fred Warner now, how over the middle of the field they're allowing the most points per game to opposing slot receivers. So I think in models, Wan'Dale Robinson is going to pop. I still like, go figure, Darius Slayton a lot in this game on the week. Slayton led them. If you go back in his 4 games going back to last year without Malik Neighbors, Slayton led them in receiving yards in all 4 games. He gets injured the next game. He comes back last week and was going to lead them in receiving yards, had that 68-yard ghost OPI touchdown negated. And so if you look at what the Niners have become now with all these injuries, I said a lot of things just to say in 2 of their last 3 games. Cam Johnson recorded 60 yards and a touchdown. Xavier Hutchinson last week recorded 60 yards and a touchdown. So I still like Slayton with Dart. But overall, the Giants, they're a terrific place to start for this slate.
Yeah, Darius Slayton is definitely your Brokeback Mountain. You just can't quit Slayton for sure. By the way, did you mention Theo Johnson? Because he's
also there.
Early optimals on a Wednesday night.
Yep.
He's currently the most and the cap is just tighter. It's getting tighter. It's more and more expensive to get for Jonathan Taylor and the expensive pieces if you want to spend up on things like that. You want to spend up on Puka, Chase, and he's coming in as the most popular tight end right now. This stuff is fluid. It can certainly change. The slate can flip multiple times before we get to Sunday. But is he somebody we can play in tournaments? Do we trust if he's kind of sort of somewhat chalky, Daigle? Do we feel good about a chalky Theo Johnson?
I think I like flipping. I think he's fine, honestly. And I'm curious, when people are facing cash game lineups, they're going to have the option to play 4 Giants this week. Like I guarantee you, Wan'Dale will probably pop more than Slayton. I still prefer Slayton on both sides. But for me, for tournaments, I kind of like flipping the build and spinning up at tight end this week. Tucker Kraft, Brock Bowers. We'll get into all of them later. But so is Theo fine? Yeah, without Fred Warner, the Niners allowed Cade Otton to have 51 yards. Kyle Pitts has 7 catches for 62 yards. Dalton Schultz didn't get there, but he was chalk last week. It was just the cheap wide receivers, Jalen Noel, Xavier Hutchinson, that got there instead. So yeah, I think Theo is perfectly fine play. But again, being a cash game cheap tight end, I don't think I'm going to get there. I'm going to look elsewhere.
I should be clear on the sites. Theo Johnson not getting there on FanDuel. FanDuel is giving me a bunch of Tucker Kraft and a bunch of Pitts and some
Tucker Kraft is so good.
Yeah, he's
just in general.
And there's like 7 options on Green Bay, but there's really only one option. There's one option there. There's 7 guys. Just throw it to Tucker Kraft. He'll make it happen. Yeah, Rich, your thoughts as far as the Giants? Do we like Tyrone Tracy if he's kind of sort of somewhat chalky? How much is he going to split with Singletary?
No, I think it'll be him. He played with Scadu off the field. He played 80% of the snaps. He had 12 of 15 touches, only the 53 yards. He's fine. The 49ers still have a really good run defense. Maybe you're hoping for like the Woody Marks run out, right? Where you're doing like a little combination. They're vulnerable to receiving backs. So that's where he would kind of make his way. Woody Marks had the long catch in last week's game. But that's kind of what you're looking at. Like if you don't get a touchdown from him, I think you're looking at something like 45 to 65 rushing yards, and you're hoping he can get to like 40 or 50 receiving yards. I don't think he's going to hit either bonus for you on either side. It's like a combination for him getting to 100 yards. I do think that when we kind of get days removed, that Kareem Hunt's going to pass him as being like the more preferred play at this price point, especially a little bit cheaper than him. But I think he's overall just fine. He's okay. This is a great slate though. In general, as I was writing up these games, I felt really good. And then when I actually did rankings, so doing rankings like in previous weeks, like I would get to like wide receiver 5 and be like, oh my God, like I have to rank like one of these guys wide receiver 6, right? So like I always do the worksheet first. I want to write up the games and write up like my expectations for the players before you have to put them like in a linear list. I don't like to do the rankings first because I don't have to drive my analysis. And like this week was the first week though, like even ranking dudes, like I was still feeling good. I was getting to like QB 12 and it's like, oh, I love this dude. Like getting to like wide receiver 15. I'm like, I still like this guy. Like, so it feels like a genuinely just like really good slate. I think there's gonna be a lot of plays on the slate that people are gonna like to, a lot of ways to build. Like you said, though, pricing is tight. We'll look for some more things. Yeah, we'll have to look for some more things to open up. Like we already have Hunt because he was priced on Monday night. Tracy's like kind of fine. I think we're going to talk about some cheap guys. I think there's another guy on the other side of the ball that I like really good in this game too. But you have the cheap Giants guys, like Daigle said, the 49ers are just so beat up. I think Wando's a really solid play. I mean, the 49ers have just been crushed by slot receivers the entire year. I mean, 29th in yards per target, 30th in touchdown rate. The target tree is still going to be relatively tight here. So even if you do like slate, and I still think it's fine to like Wando, I don't necessarily believe it has to be either or. 49ers can also just force the Giants to pass, because if the Giants can't run without Cam Scatterboo, it could just be more of a Jackson Dart drop back game anyways. And I'll probably pass on Theo if he's tracking to be popular. 35% of his fantasy points are touchdowns only. It's the second highest rate among tight ends. So like you really just need him to brick not getting a touchdown for him to kind of fail if he's going to be popular. I think he's fine overall play if he checks in for lower ownership, but if he's going to be like chalk, he's not the type of player I don't really say like I have to jam in.
Theo also, I think, will get boosted if Daniel Bellinger, who was injured on Sunday, remains out as well.
Yeah, and it's no longer national touchdown. We talked about that kind of sort of somewhat jokingly, but literally it's like every tight end but Dallas Schultz scored a touchdown last week. I'm pretty sure everybody else that got in there, it was pretty spectacular. By the way, shout out to TJ. I don't know if it was on this show or it was a different show. He was talking about the Texans. I think he was talking about Texans triples, but he was in on that Texans stuff. It was gross, but like it helped you get to where you wanted to get.
And Stroud got the bonus.
Barkley, yep, he looked amazing last week. He had like no weapons.
He's looked amazing against every depleted defense he's faced. To be fair though, Stroud's a good player. It's the infrastructure I think has done him wrong. But look at his 3 good games this year: Titans, the Ravens when they had nobody, and then the 49ers when they had nobody. But we just saw on Monday night during the same week they couldn't move the ball on the Seahawks.
Who was the cheap diner? Are we looking at who do we like here? Jennings? Do we trust is Kittle?
That's my guy. My guy is Jennings.
Yeah. Okay. What do you got?
Yeah, I just think we've seen that he's healthy. Kyle Shanahan talked about that he was healthy. The box score's been light the past 2 weeks. Well, also too, the 49ers ran their fewest plays in a game in like 25 years last week. They only had 14 plays in the first half last week. Yeah. It was like you said, they couldn't get off the field. Stroud was 11 for 11 on third downs in that game. They just couldn't get off the field.
Yeah.
But we've seen Jennings now come back and he got 27% of team targets, 24% of the team targets. He has 47% and 34% of the first read targets the past 2 games. If Ricky Pearsall is tracking to come back, which he didn't practice today, it looks like he's going to miss another game. That would kind of change things. But we've seen now too, the Giants, their depleted secondary with Paulson Adebo out. They still came out and played a ton of man coverage last week. And Jennings has been targeted on 35% of his routes against man coverage compared to 16.8% against zone coverage. I would prefer Purdy than Mac Jones. I know Daigle said it doesn't matter. Purdy's held up the pressure a little bit better than Mac has, but I think both guys are in play for the 49ers still too. But I do prefer Jennings the most of the pass catchers.
It's also just because the run out for Mac Jones has been pretty brutal the last couple of weeks. I know relative like Juwan Jennings, Kendrick Bourne, George Kittle's, the yard totals don't look good, but Mac Jones only tossed for 150 and 190 passing yards the last couple of games because he played great pass defenses, both ranked above average in EPA per dropback in the Texans and the Falcons that we knew were going to blitz his face off, and they did successfully. But even Jennings in those matchups had at least 25% of the team's receiving yards. And again, this is not a situation where you expect the Giants to still be able to pressure Mac Jones. So yes, like regardless, I think the Niners are going to produce immensely across the board and push the Giants back.
I was going to ask, and I'll still ask, but if you're spending for one running back this week, is it CMC or is it Taylor? God, I do want to mention Taylor's $11K on FanDuel. $11K.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah. He's a hard pass this week, and I know that sounds crazy, but he is. We're going to talk about that game now. Spoiler alert.
Yes.
So let's save that. We'll save that.
I don't like the salary. There's a lot of plays I like too, but we live with salary cap, and it's just really, really tricky to make these pieces work. Daigle, do you have a lean? I guess you want to save that for when we talk about Taylor, CMC versus Taylor?
I still don't mind Taylor, but Christian McCaffrey I do think is still too cheap for his price, if only because we had this conversation even for season long when just batting around, hypotheticals about who's the RB1 on the season, who's the wide receiver 1 rest of season. And so Christian McCaffrey and JT are top of the list for running backs. But Christian McCaffrey is just the fact that he continues also getting there and leading his own position with a 24% target share. Not only that, but it's still pretty promising what he's shown these last 2 games. He only got 8 carries. Like Rich said, the play volume wasn't there for the Niners last week against the Falcons. But in both of these contests with George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey has averaged over 6 yards per touch. And so it's just once again a situation with the Giants being a bottom 5 defense in explosive carries. Like it's another situation where I think Christian McCaffrey can very easily get there. When I started building placeholders, I did start with him and JT just to see what I could build around. That was, of course, on DraftKings, not on FanDuel, where JT, like you said, is $11K. But I think Christian McCaffrey is absolutely a priority this week.
Who is the number 1 receiver, by the way, season long? Is it Puka? Is it JSN?
Wiggins says it's Chase. I say it's Puka. I think Mark Dankenbring said it's JSN. That's kind of the options, but I think it's Puka personally.
You think
JSN's fine.
Yeah. I mean, JSN had its bye, and he still leads the NFL in receiving by 100 yards.
That's a good point.
And he's the thing about JSN, and we're not going to talk about that game because it's on Sunday night, but he's getting all the stuff that we care about. He leads the NFL in receiving yards and play action passes. I thought this was a typo. I even joked about it in the worksheet. He's averaging 6.6 yards per out run on play action passes. That's that's literally that's an insane number. But if you remove, he also is 6th in the NFL in targets in motion, like the cheat codes, play action and motion. But if you remove motion and play action targets from him, he's still averaging 4.7 yards per out run. The wide receiver average for all wide receivers that have run 100 more outs this season is 1.39 yards per out run. Wow. For some added context, the next closest receiver removing play action and pre-snap motion targets is Justin Jefferson at 2.88 yards per out run. He's basically 2 yards better than the next player removing all the stuff. All like the stuff that like is a cheat code. So, I mean, he is absolutely just balling right now.
Do you know Jerry Rice's? Because yards per out run weren't kept when Jerry Rice was in his prime. Okay, I didn't know if you happen to have it on hand. Because I looked it up for the matchups for this week, and I was like, oh, I don't feel like doing the actual math there myself.
Did you give your official take, Daigle? Everything you want to say as far as San Fran? Are we scooting along? I know you started off with the Giants.
I think the Giants are going to be so popular. I definitely don't mind eating the Tracy chalk, especially at that salary. it's like Rich said, it's not only the Niners are a defense we want to target the pass-catching running backs. Even without Scatterboo, Tracy ran 15 routes to Devin Singletary's 4. Last year, from October on, Tracy, remember, was a 5th-round rookie under the same coaching staff, and they entrusted him for 71% of their touches moving on from October. So they do want to lean on him as their RB1. He's that explosive. He was a receiver in college, so I definitely think he can get there. And given the context of the slate, I also definitely don't mind eating the chalk. But regardless, I still like Christian McCaffrey and Juwan Jennings at cost, like the most among this entire group.
Rich, you got anything else here, or shall I move along?
No, I echo the Christian McCaffrey stuff. I mean, Giants are allowing the most fantasy points per touch to running backs. They're allowing 144 total yards per game to running backs. That's 29th. They're 31st in yards allowed before contact to running backs. And they have the double whammy. They're 31st in yards allowed before contact to running backs, and they're dead last in yards allowed after contact to running backs. I think that if you do play McCaffrey, you might solo him here, because the way this game fails is it's like the Falcons game where the 49ers is running down the Giants' throat.
Yeah. Did I miss something? I thought the Giants were supposed to have a good run defense coming into the season.
They have good pass rushers, but not good.
Yeah.
It's like the Dolphins, where they have the talent in their front 7, but it ultimately has not come to fruition.
Okay. Like I thought, like supposedly, yeah, they were going to be pretty solid up front, and that clearly has not.
That's why we do all the work and the projections, and then at the end of the day, nothing matters.
Rich, you mentioned the worksheet. I do want to mention to the people we have an exclusive deal here for our listeners. You can get access to the worksheet. You can unlock all of Rich Hribar's exclusive fantasy football analysis over at Sharp Football, 50% off with code PICK6. That's pick the number 6 all together. Just go to sharp.football and use the code PICK6 on a weekly, monthly, or season-long fantasy football package to save big. All right, game number 2. We're talking about, well, Indianapolis, Jonathan Taylor. Just give him 3 more touchdowns. Sure, why not? At Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh getting 3 at home. 50.5 is the total. Rich, you're opening it up for us.
Well, we've got the Colts now. Literally, just keep the wagon keeps going. Shout out to my buddy Pat Crane. We're calling the Colts offense the wagon now. I don't really know what it means, but it sounds provocative. It gets people going. But they are now averaging through 8 weeks 3.46 points per drive. Only the 2007 Patriots were better than them right now at this point of an NFL season in terms of points per drive. I mean, they lead the NFL in plays of 15 or more yards. And they're going against this Steelers defense that no matter how much money they spent, no matter how many future Hall of Famers are on it, I mean, they are getting absolutely crushed right now. I mean, they've allowed over 450 yards in back-to-back games for only the second time in franchise history. They're allowing the most yards per possession. Obviously, the Colts average the most yards per possession on offense. This is kind of a spot here where also what I think is fun about this game is that this would be like such a hang your hat, Mike, the most antithesis of Mike Tomlin game of if they can just hold Jonathan Taylor to like 3.5 yards per carry while Daniel Jones throws 4 touchdowns and him to be like boast his chest about it. But I actually do think at the price, like, and you can always play Jonathan Taylor. I think like obviously in season long, he's a great play. I'm actually not that worried about him at his salary, like shadow realming me here. The Steelers are 5th in points allowed per touch to running backs. Jonathan Taylor's faced one team better. That was the Rams this season, and he had 22 touches for 96 yards without a touchdown. I do think they just held Josh Jacobs 3.3 yards per carry. Like, he can always pop one, but I think at 11K and what is he, 9.8 on DraftKings on a slate like this, he's going to have like a game that we haven't seen a running back have against this defense. And dude, Tomlin, the 2 weeks ago on Thursday night when they did the coach interviews, Chase Brown had like 4 carries in the first half, and he just was talking about stopping the run as like Jamar Chase had 12 targets. He's like, we can't let them run on us. I was like, what? Like, where? Like, you just watch Jamar Chase? Like, you really want to give some help out there, man. Like,
it's funny you mentioned that because the broadcast did the same thing on Sunday night where clearly they were coached up all week to hone in whenever Josh Jacobs got the ball. Like, that's all Tomlin talked about was Jacobs is their cog. We're going to make sure we can stop the run. Meanwhile, Jordan Love is dropping back and just dropping dimes on them with
completing
ease.
20 passes in a row.
He even talked about Tomlin, how like he coached up the defense to be more effective blitzers because that's why they've allowed so many big plays. And then they sent a blitz against Love on 60% of his dropbacks, and he went 16 of 22 for 3 touchdowns and 11 yards per attempt. Like they did nothing. He may have talked to them against the blitz, but they're still just a horrendous pass defense. And that's why I do kind of like, just tacking on here with more Colts talk. We discussed trying to get cheap and whatnot. I do actually like Alec Pierce as more as just a guy who, like, not just one big touchdown here, but last week Josh Downs comes back. And although I personally think Josh Downs can do a lot more if they let him, we do know he's stuck in the slot. He's pigeonholed there for this team. And Pierce still led the Colts in routes run. The Steelers have allowed the most yards per game to wide receiver ones. And Pierce also leads this team with a 24% target share whenever Daniel Jones has been blitzed. So we're looking for cheap ceiling options on this slate. I like Alec Pierce a lot this week.
Yeah, I know Rich compares the Colts to the Packers a lot, and it's similar for multiple reasons. Like when they get ahead, they just start running the ball. It's hard to sort of pick a receiver, but if it's the best receiver option is the tight end, right? For both of these teams, I think. Mm-hmm. When you throw aside ownership and things like that, I don't really know how to pick one of these guys, but certainly Pierce has the big play ability. Would that be your favorite receiver for the Colts, Rich, or is there somebody else that you prefer?
I like Warren the most here. I feel like he's going to not track to be popular either because he's a little bit more expensive than Tucker Kraft. Because what has happened is you always compare him to the Packers because what happens to the Colts is they have the second lowest dropback rate in the NFL in the second half of games because they've led for the most snaps, though by double digits the most. But Daniel Jones is the QB1 in first half scoring. Guess who's the tight end 1, obviously, in first half scoring? Tyler Warren. But he goes to the tight end 28 in second half scoring. He's only running 9 routes per game in the second half. That's the 31st amongst tight ends. If we're going to get a full game of passing, which I do believe we were, because we even got the other side, but I do think that actually the Steelers offense is going to have success in this game too. If we get a full game from Tyler Warren, where at low ownership, I think that's tremendous. Like this guy is getting all the stuff that we kind of talked about with like JSN. He's getting all of that stuff. He's getting all this play action, all the RPO stuff. This like all these free looks. He's great after the catch. Only Tucker Kraft. He's very comparable to Tucker Kraft in terms of play style. Only Tucker Kraft has more yards after the catch. Who did the Steelers just get bludgeoned by? By Tucker Kraft. So, and we've seen, outside of, the game of Tucker Kraft, they've allowed tight end 1 weeks to Hunter Henry, Harold Fannin, Noah Fant, which was just touchdown induced, but they haven't beat up by tight ends either. But a full game worth of Tyler Warren sounds really exciting to me.
If you want to know how fraudulent Pittsburgh is at their 4-3 record, the 2-5 Baltimore Ravens are currently minus 125 in the FanDuel Sportsbook to win the AFC North, which is just a wild thing to see.
They were favored 3 weeks ago. We wanted to hit it, and it was like minus 110. It wasn't even a value.
It's like the most obvious. Like, yeah,
to bet on a 1-5 team. They were 1-5 at the time, and you couldn't even bet them because you weren't even getting great odds on it.
I did Google Wagon Urban Dictionary, and like I've heard people say, I've heard the same thing, and I don't want to use it, but I understand the context, and it is probably I mean not in context of an athletic team, but booty, particularly big booty is what I got. So that's what a wagon is according to Urban Dictionary.
Well, that tracks actually too.
The Colts are it's like the big dumper of the NFL is the Indianapolis.
Yeah.
All right. But I also listened to a podcast, it kind of came across in the yelled algorithm. Julian Edelman was talking about his favorite team to play against was the Steelers because Tomlin never changes his coaching style. Yeah, he was talking about
they'll never, dude, it's 2 weeks in a row we've seen it. Like the game that sticks out in my mind, again, dating myself, is like there was a game on Sunday night where they played against the Chargers and like they just like had a linebacker on Keenan Allen the whole game. Like he had like 15 catches and they just like never once were like, maybe we should stop that. Like it's like, there was the same thing with Jamar Chase 2 weeks ago. It was just still ISO man coverage. Like Richard Sherman was losing his mind, like at the post game. Like, what are we doing? Just leaving Jamar Chase 1-on-1 and beating us. And then like last week doing the same thing over and over. Jordan Love completed 20 straight passes.
Yeah.
They just don't. It's like, we're doing this our way and we're going to keep doing it. If we lose, so be it. But they've allowed 5 QB1 scoring weeks in 7 games this year. The only 2 quarterbacks that haven't gotten there are Dylan Gabriel And Sam Darnold didn't get there. But in that game, Sam Darnold still threw for 9 yards per pass attempt and 295 yards. It was just a high-scoring week. He still had a pretty decent line. So we're also getting potentially a full week, if we do believe that the game like plays out as implied, high and tight, a full game for Daniel Jones, right? And like that same thing. He's the QB1 in first half scoring, and then he's 23rd in dropbacks per game. So if we just get him pushed for a whole game, we've got a chance for a larger run out. And he has a little bit of mobility too. We get a little bit of that rushing built in. Who's
going to push him on Pittsburgh? You talk about some pushback. Early optimals. Jaylen Warren looks like he's hitting a lot of lineups. I don't really totally see this. Do you want to sell me on this, Rich, or you tell me that's wrong?
No, I can't sell you on that. This is a back without a touchdown on the season. More of a floor play guy. Yeah, it's real tough. Also, the Colts only running backs only have 25% of the fantasy points scored against the Colts. It's the second lowest rate in the league. Some of that is like game script induced. But also when you look at the style of runs Jaylen Warren gets don't really fit where the Colts get beat in the run game. 40% of his rushes are inside zone runs. It's the third highest rate in the league. That's where the Colts are good on the interior. Like that's where DeForest Buckner is. They're only allowing 3.6 yards per carry in those inside zone runs. They're 8th in success rate against those runs. So I have a hard time seeing it for Jaylen Warren. I don't think it's like, I think he's like a great like RB2 floor season long guy, but like I don't think there's a lot of ceiling for him.
Yeah. Like you said earlier, it sounded like you're saying you didn't necessarily, without saying it, you didn't necessarily love Tyrone Tracy in tournaments. Doesn't sound like you like Warren in tournaments.
I don't
either. If we're searching for that ceiling.
You can pretty much just look at what's happened with Kamani Vidal and go with Jaylen Warren from there, because Vidal rushed for 117 and 124 and 2 of 3 starts for Amari and Hampton. But sandwiched in between that was this matchup and against the Colts, and he totaled 35 yards from scrimmage. No running back has even reached 80 rushing yards against Indy this year. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty bad spot for Warren as well.
Do we like any receivers here, Daigle? I'm guessing we're not considering Aaron Rodgers.
No, not personally. My only issue is that they are getting their opposing quarterbacks against the Colts so far. 20 fantasy points, for example, allowed to Jacoby Brissett and Justin Herbert. But they also got the volume, and I'm still questioning if we even get Aaron Rodgers with the volume here outside of garbage time. Brissett had 44 passes. Justin Herbert had 55. Still went over 400 yards, like still impressive, but 55 dropbacks. I'm just not sure, honestly. So although I want to play, I'm definitely going to play pieces from the Colts side. Rich, do you have a lean on the Steelers? Because I think I'm still shying away, honestly, from the Steelers offense.
I wish DK Metcalf was cheaper, but here's the thing. So the Steelers are like a sum of parts offense. I actually do believe as a top-down offense, the Steelers are going to score points in this game and be successful. But we're using that to generate the upside for the Colts plays. Like you necessarily don't have to bring a Steeler guy along because they spread the ball out so much. And they do typically play a little bit slower too. But I do think Aaron Rodgers is going to be effective. Aaron Rodgers has been low-key pretty good. Like, I mean, he has multiple passing touchdowns in 5 of his past 7 games. He leads the NFL in touchdown rate. He's 8th in passing points per attempt. He actually averages more passing points per attempt than Daniel Jones this year. And he's getting pushed a little bit more because the Steelers defense stinks. He actually has 35 dropbacks per game over the past 3 weeks. That's QB 14. I mean, they're just never going to be, he's never be like top 5. It's not the way it's going to operate. But the Colts have allowed some spike weeks. They have allowed QB1 scoring weeks in 4 of their past 7 games. The only exceptions are Cam Ward twice and Geno Smith. That's it. Everyone else has gotten there from a points perspective. I'm not going to play Aaron Rodgers because the slate's loaded with quarterbacks. Yeah. And I think he's more of like a guy that like you would stream and he's going to get you like 18 to 20. And like you feel really good about that if you're streaming him. But like in a tournament, is it going to be enough? I don't. I do think DK could potentially be good here. I mean, over the past 3 weeks, the Colts have allowed the most receptions to wide receivers in the NFL. The problem is like DK's finding out what life is being the wide receiver 1 is in Arthur Smith's offense. You know what I mean? He's wide receiver 38 in targets per game. He only has 22% of the team's targets. He's only, averaging 3.9 receptions per game, as fewer since his rookie season. He does have a monopoly on the red zone targets, at least a little bit. He has 33% of the Pittsburgh red zone targets, which you do like. He's exciting from a stance if he was cheaper. I wish he was in like the 6Ks. Isn't he in the 7s? Like, I wish he was like 6 flat.
Metcalf is 5.5.
Oh, 5.5 is good. Maybe I was looking at FanDuel. 5.5 I think is playable. Oh, he's playable at 5.5. Easy. Yeah. I think he's playable at 5.5.
Yeah, I think so too. He's probably
he's playable. I thought he was. I must have looked at some. I thought he was in the 6s.
Let me check. It's probably the FanDuel price you were looking at. Yeah, that would make sense.
5.5. I think he's playable.
7.6 on FanDuel. That's hard to talk to.
That's what it was. Okay,
that's different. Yeah. I was also looking into like potentially playing a cheap tight end without Pat Freiermuth potentially in this game, but they still continue to use 3 different guys. So I do think when we're talking about ceiling, target volume, it probably only is DK Metcalf, since the Colts are also getting beat up by tight ends this last 3-week span.
Yeah, I actually do. 55. I actually feel pretty good about that now.
I would sooner play Metcalf than I would play Warren if I was looking for a run back in this game.
Yes.
Just feel like he's got more upside. All right. Anything else here, boys, as far as the Colts and the Steelers? Did we like those Steelers throwback?
We didn't touch on Michael Pittman. I know Daigle flippantly called Alec Pierce the Colts wide receiver 1, but it still is Michael Pittman. So like, and the Steelers have been absolutely just crushed. So Pittman's a guy like you're like never excited to click him, but like when you pull up like his DK box score, like he's regularly like tripling up. Like he's like living around like the 20 PPR points. And he's been priced like relatively fine all year. I played him 2 weeks ago when Downs was out and he was like real cheap. He's just just consistently getting you to like those 20 points. And if we think there's gonna be more passing volume, I mean, he's still in play too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 20.8 is the most he's given you, which is fine. But like, he's never put up a score where, man, I really wish I played Pittman. But like you said, a few times where it's like, man, he absolutely destroyed my lineup too. So he's like mostly in the teens, at least the teens, mid-teens, and it's the 20s a couple times.
But Tyler Warren would be my favorite dude, though.
Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. Daigle, anything else here?
Nope, that's about it. I discussed Pierce for salary purposes, but I'm going to play a lot of Pierce for sure.
Game 3, the game of the week. I'm surprised this wasn't Sunday night. I'm not sure how that worked out, but I thought for sure when I heard Kansas City was playing Buffalo, this has to be the Sunday night game. It's not. They're playing in the late window. Kansas City at the Bills. Bills are getting 2.5 at home. What just absolutely rolled last week off the bye. James Cook, he buried me. I did not play James Cook. The Sims are telling me to play James Cook, and I just not waved them. Like, appreciate it. I'm good. Should have played some Cook. And then you guys told me to play Barkley as well. Wasn't a good week for your boy, but hey, it's a brand new week. 52.5 total, biggest total on the board. Pacheco not playing for Kansas City. Daigle, I would love to spend up on one of these quarterbacks. I just don't know if I have the salary to do it. It's really tough. Salary is a thing. Maybe things changes as the week progresses, but I feel like both these quarterbacks are going to be fairly low owned for that reason.
Yeah.
So we should be interested in tournaments. What do you got?
That's why it's not fun to talk about Patrick Mahomes, because from the outside looking in, I don't think Patrick Mahomes has a ceiling that can beat me this week, but those are famous last words until Patrick Mahomes plays professional football. So far, now we have 2 games with Rashee Rice. Mahomes has averaged 12 yards per attempt. He's taken 1 sack. I think the reason why he would not have a ceiling in this game is because in this time, he hasn't scrambled the ball a single time. His design runs so far have been carries, as he can just sit back and pass more. Easier matchups, including a couple weeks ago against the Raiders. But in this one, it's tough. Like the Bills, despite being a horrible run defense, allowing explosive runs all over the place, like they're still holding up their end of the bargain through the air. The most passing points they've allowed in any game this year was to Lamar Jackson with 16 points in week 1. He ultimately scored 29 fantasy points because he tacked on those 70 rushing yards in a rushing score. But again, if we don't think Mahomes is going to naturally scramble a lot more, then maybe he doesn't get there. It's also a good matchup for their running game. If either of those players get there, because the Bills do seem like they're going to be missing their 2 starting defensive tackles on top of what they've already been allowing on the ground. And so, yeah, I think I'll be shying away. As you mentioned, Mahomes probably won't garner ownership, but I still think I will mix and match some pieces from this game. I have a lot more faith in it still having points as opposed to past games, if only because we saw last year that Rashee Rice wasn't available for either of these matchups, whereas in the past, Travis Kelce in 2023, for example, did have immense success whenever Rice was on the field. Kelce in those last 2 games had 6 catches for 83 yards and 75 yards and 2 touchdowns in 2023. So I do think you can mix and match a lot of players here.
Where do you want to attack this game, Rich?
This is it, man. This is everyone's be watching this game. When you said there was 3 games at 4:00, I think for a lot of people there's only be one. I think a lot of NFL just could have had this side as a different island game in the afternoon.
Not Jacksonville and the Raiders.
Yeah, I don't know about any people. I mean, I'll be watching Jacksonville Raiders too, but this game's gonna have so much viewership on it. Obviously the little rivalry that these teams have had. Where the regular season Bills beat up on the regular season Chiefs. Maybe that's different this time. And then they ultimately lose to the Chiefs in the playoffs. That just seems like the course of running. What is it? 4 years in a row, right? The Bills have beat the Chiefs in the regular season and lost to them in the playoffs. What I love about this game is the stars. Like, this is where the stars come out, man. Like, yep. In any time the Bills play in these types of games, like, this is where super Josh Allen comes out. Like, this is where they just Josh Allen is they build the whole plane out of Josh Allen. I love it, man. Like, these high profile games in these matchups, these 9 games, he's averaging 27 fantasy points per game against the Chiefs. He uses his legs a ton. You also have some generational betting opportunities here for Josh Allen over rushing attempts and rushing yards, which are way too low in initial books right now. He averages 10.4 rushing attempts per game against the Chiefs. In 7 straight games, he's run the ball double digit or more times. He's run for 54 yards per game in those matchups, a low of 32. He's a 10% scramble rate with 5.5 designed runs per game. We already know the Chiefs because of the way Spags plays defense. They always give up rushing production to quarterbacks. That's been true again this year. They're 30th in rushing yards allowed to quarterbacks. Justin Herbert, 32 yards. Russell Wilson, 27. Lamar, 48. Trevor Lawrence, 54 and 2 touchdowns. Mariota, 28 on Monday. And Spags really hasn't changed his approach. He's been relatively static. Sean McDermott's done some things based on who the Chiefs have had available. Like in the 2 matchups last year, he went out of structure against Patrick Mahomes and played a lot of man coverage. I bet he does not do that in this matchup, based on what the Chiefs had in terms of, artillery as pass catchers last year. But Spags has tried and true, man. He blitzes the hell out of Josh Allen. He plays a lot of man coverage against Josh Allen. He does not respect these Bills receivers, and he wants to put pressure on Josh Allen, and that leads to some plays where Josh Allen just does some Superman shit, right? There was a play 2 years ago when they played where, I don't know if everyone remembers it, like Josh Allen was like running the sideline. He threw like a hook shot like down the sideline to like James Cook. It was like one of the most bonkers plays I've seen a quarterback make. But we know that he's going to send pressure at Josh Allen. So, and when you look at he might not want to do that, because when they did send man blitzes against Josh Allen last year, he had a 59% success rate compared to a 40% success rate against those non-blitz dropbacks. So yeah, I mean, I just love anytime Josh Allen's in these types of games, I look at Josh Allen because the Bills, like, they will run this thing through Josh Allen.
Do we have to pair him with somebody? I don't know if we do. What happened to Keon Coleman? Like, is that just over? I feel like that's he had that one quarter, right? Basically. And besides that, it's just been all the hype preseason. Oh, he's taking the leap. The kid's he's figuring it out, and it's just not happening.
The hype was a sophomore receiver attached to Josh Allen.
Yeah.
In a open target tree. But that open target tree has stayed open. No one's honed in. To your point, Keon Coleman, well, first of all, they scored 40 points and Keon Coleman had 30 receiving yards. Let's start there. But 95 yards in the fourth quarter of week 1, 172 yards in 27 other quarters.
That's amazing.
Just literally hasn't happened for him at all. And so, yeah, the rushing note is exactly what I had for Josh Allen. That's how they've won these matchups. So you can certainly play naked Josh Allen. The Chiefs have been significantly better and above average defense against opposing slot receivers this year. But in the last 3 games, these 2 teams played, at least Shakir had 9, 12, and 7 targets. I imagine that people will want to play him specifically on DraftKings if they tag along Josh Allen. But yeah, I'm ultimately just going to look at Allen, especially because of what James Cook is facing in this game. Cook obviously coming off bonkers 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, but you look at who the Chiefs have played, and they've arguably played like not only the best running backs, they've played the most athletic running backs in the entire game. Amarian Hampton, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, Jahmyr Gibbs, Ashton Genty. And all those guys averaged 14 fantasy points. None reached 90 rushing yards against the Chiefs' run defense. So Cook can get there. Cook can definitely score goal line touchdowns, but I just think it ultimately has to run all through Josh Allen in this game. And so I'll happily be fading James Cook.
The running game for Kansas City, Daigle, people are probably going to want to make either Hunt or everybody wants Rashad Smith to happen. Elijah Mitchell might get some run. Who knows? They kind of muck things up where they have 3 running backs there in the works. Of course, if you get the salary, you want to spend up on Rashee Rice. But let's focus on the run game. How do you feel about Hunt, Smith? Is Mitchell going to throw things off? Are we into this?
Chiefs Bill's still allowing the 4th highest rate of 10-yard runs. So that's how we think the Chiefs can ultimately beat them. The issue is if we're talking about chalk, it's not really chalk you want to play into. Kareem Hunt, like we talked about with Quinshon Judkins, for example, a couple weeks ago, he has 3 touchdowns in his range of outcomes here. I'm just curious, though, if that's all we're betting on. Since even the pass-catching role, Rashad Smith now has 18 targets to Hunt's 9 on the season. And if we're trying to wish cast Rashad Smith there, 1, we still don't really expect a large role. But 2, he's been pretty bad as a running back so far. He has no 10-yard runs this year. He's broken 1 tackle when carrying the ball all season. And so this Bills run defense could allow him to have a better performance. And I'm not going to push back on anyone who just looking for the cheap option because they want to stack all the other expensive players. If you want to play Rashad Smith with Patrick Mahomes even, just fine. I can see ranges of outcomes, how it gets there. But I do think it's thin, and you would be chasing Hunt again just for that roll inside the 5-yard line, which is okay in showdown slates. But in this entire slate, when we have other guys to lean on, I don't think I'll ultimately get to either player.
Rich, the backfield for Kansas City?
No, I'm down with Hunt. I'm at his price, what he opens up on this slate and the touchdown equity that he probably holds. I think he's almost like a guy you just really don't overthink it. What he unlocks for you. We in these big games, first of all, we already have this blueprint. We saw Isaiah Pacheco miss 8 weeks last year and we literally have almost a 1-for-1, even, and actually probably not even a 1-for-1 if you think Rashard Smith can just be Samaje Perine. Because that might not even happen. That's the one thing you have to kind of coax yourself into could happen. But we've already seen, the Chiefs trust Kareem Hunt. There's a reason they brought him back. There's a reason why he was still out touching Isaiah Pacheco with the money touches. They know what they have with him. They're fine with him. They know he doesn't get explosives, but he's one of the most effective backs in terms of success rate, moving. You heard it again on Monday night when they went for the 4th and 1. He's converted 9 of 10 short yardage runs. They know exactly what they have. They're comfortable with it. He gets the yards that they need him to get. And this team produces scoring points. This Chiefs offense, right now, I don't want to overthink. They are just about all the way back. They're not apex Chiefs with Hall of Fame Kelsey and Hall of Fame Tyreek, but dude, you talk about wagons. The Chiefs are an absolute wagon right now. They're now up to 2nd in the NFL in points per drive. Mahomes is in his bag right now. Everyone, I feel can get there. This game is just feel it's going to cook, man. I don't want to just leave a 4-7 running back on the table as multiple touchdown upside and one of the best game environments on the slate alone against the worst run defense in the NFL too. On top of it, it feels it's just just feels like an overthought to me. This, especially if they're missing their 2 defensive tackles too. What more do we need to line up?
Can Kansas City ruin this game just by running the ball a ton and just?
They won't though, because that's not who they are.
And they know America doesn't want that.
They're not going to line up and run Hunt 30 times. That's not their DNA.
Yeah. Did anyone mention Rashee Rice is the best wide receiver season long going forward? Was he in the conversation?
Yeah, he was one of the 4 we discussed.
Yeah, on the fringe. Yeah.
And he also gets carries inside the 10-yard line now, apparently too.
It's a nice little perk, sure.
Yep.
How do we feel
touchdowns on Monday?
Say it again.
I said he almost had 3 touchdowns. He had the one that got overturned because he was short, and then he stepped out at the 1 on the other one.
Kansas City receivers, we love Rice. Rice is excellent. How much we prioritizing? It's you mentioned Kelsey. Obviously, it's not prime Kelsey, but he still can get things done. Certainly, does he have Is there a Superman Kelsey? I'm not sure, but
probably he's cheap though too.
He's cheap. Yeah, 4.6 is really reasonable. Rich, your favorite receiver for Kansas City, all things considered, is who?
I mean, Rice, if I can fit him in.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, The Bills equal opportunity defense here. I mean, they're 31st in points allowed to wide receiver ones this year. Just under 19 PPR points per game. Zay Flowers, 7 for 143 and 1. Stephon Diggs, 10 for 146. Drake London, 10 for 158 and 1. Tet McMillan last week with whatever Andy Dalton was doing had 7 for 99. Also a lot of touchdowns to Tyreek Hill and Chris Olave. Like, yeah. And also, I mean, you talk about the Bills, like they are, a base zone defense. Like they've always been that under Sean McDermott, especially these matchups against Patrick Mahomes. Literally since he entered the NFL, he has been the best wide receiver in terms of zone coverage because of the types of targets he gets for his career. He's at 3.2 yards per out run. He's been targeted on 30% of his routes against zone coverage. Just 2 games this year, but he's at 3.8 yards per out run with 44% target rate per out run. So yeah, if I can fit him in, I definitely want to. But I think the other guys are all in play though too. Worthy and Kelsey, I think, are also playable here.
You have anything different there, Daigle, as far as your favorites for Kansas City? It's just like, obviously, you get the salary. You love playing Rice. Any sort of cheap dart that you'd be willing to play? Or it's just like you want Rice and Kelsey's fine as well?
None of the Chiefs. Like I said, I think the cheapest you'd go, even though it's thin, is Brashad Smith. But I didn't realize Kareem Hunt was only 4,700 on DraftKings. I had no idea. I thought
they played Monday.
I thought he was 55. I didn't think about that. So, yeah, that kind of changes my tune, actually. Because if you talk about Smith as a cheap option, he's not even as cheap as their guy who, as I talked about, only gets touches inside the 5-yard line. So, yeah, no one else, because Tyquan Thornton was that guy previously, but he's pretty much lost the role entirely. So, with everyone, including Kelsey, being so cheap, those are the outs, is spinning up for Rice and then spinning down for everyone else. Naked Josh Allen, you don't even need Mahomes. Sounds like you have a stack there.
It's the Pick Six show. We have 3 main games. We did want to just touch on 3.5. It's like the Pick 6.5 show, I suppose, because we are considering. I know, John, you're considering talking about featuring Chicago and Cincinnati, but we don't know about Joe Flacco, and we didn't really want to talk about Jake Browning, I don't think. So, did you want to give before we kind of dive in and give our favorite plays, position by position amongst the games we've not yet discussed? What did you want to say as far as the Bears and the Bengals?
We've seen Jake Browning, and it's not great, so start there. But then also, you can't even talk about that game because at first I shoved it in to my initial draft to y'all and thought, okay, well, let's just pretend like Joe Flacco is going to play. But then you look on the other side of the ball, and again, we don't pay too much attention to Wednesday reports, but for the Bears, Rome Odunze, a surprising DMP, DJ Moore, DMP, Olamide Zacchaeus and Luther Burden are trending towards missing this game altogether. And Cole Kmet could be back after missing the last game. So we literally don't even know who's playing for the Bears either. So it's just an impossible game to talk about right now, because if all that shakes out and Joe Flacco doesn't play, that's the hellscape of fantasy football. Like, it's going to be, 13-7, and we can just ignore that game altogether.
Yeah, 51.5 total. In theory, there's some upside here, and certainly we want Flacco because the downgrade to Browning would be pretty brutal. I imagine he'll do his best to throw the ball to Chase. Chase is projected really well, as you'd imagine. Rich, you have any general thoughts as far as Bears, Bengals?
Yeah, I mean, I was so enamored in this game. I was writing it up, and then as I, submitted it and got it, Rappaport drops that tweet that, Flacco does 50-50, and I'm just like, oh, Heart of Darkness, right? Because it hurts both sides, because if we don't have Flacco and we have Browning, what probably happens then is that the Bears just run down the Bengals' throats. This is the most, craziest thing, man. So, here's what the Bengals have allowed their running backs every week. Week 1, 101 yards and a touchdown to Cleveland. Then, these are all right, whatever, that's modest. Now this is where we go into a different orbit. 176 yards and 2 touchdowns to the Jaguars running backs. 185 yards and 2 touchdowns to the Vikings backfield. 218 yards and a touchdown to the Denver backfield. 158 yards and 2 touchdowns to the Lions backfield. 158 yards and 2 touchdowns to the Green Bay backfield. 173 yards to the Pittsburgh backfield. 265 yards and 2 touchdowns to the Jets backfield. It's every week. Not even pick your flavor. We got teams from the bottom of the league, teams from the top. And since the bye, Ben Johnson has put an emphasis on the run game. Mm-hmm. So if we do get Jake Browning and it's a situation where we don't get the push that Flacco could provide, because this game is the absolute Spider-Man meme if Flacco plays. The Bears are 31st in defensive success rate. The Bengals are 30th. Drives without a takeaway. They're tied for 30th in points allowed per drive. The Bengals have a lot of touchdown at the league's highest rate per drive. The Bears are 30th. Like, these defenses are a cesspool, and they've both got injuries. We both want to target them. But if Jake Browning plays, you're just going to get a lot of DeAndre Swift.
Hendrickson likely out for Cincinnati. They're one good defensive player. I assume he's out. Do we know?
I mean, he played last week and it didn't matter.
But he left. He tapped out. He got re-injured. But like, I'm not saying he'll be the savior, but it would make him look even worse if he doesn't gut it out. But
if Flacco plays, we get the push, and then that's how this game can get there.
We have to have Flacco, though.
We gotta have Flacco. I played a lot of Flacco.
It's so sad even talking about it if we don't get Flacco.
Yeah, I don't even want to get into it. But
if I told you 10 years ago you're gonna be begging in 2025 for Joe Flacco to play a football game for fantasy purposes, you probably wouldn't have.
And dude, Zach Taylor's quote today was like, "Well, Flacco's only been here for 3 weeks. We don't know how he'll respond on limited reps." Well, we've already seen what Jake Browning's done with all the reps. Like, let Flacco play left-handed. Like,
is he in better or worse shape than Carson Wentz was a couple weeks ago? Like, do we know how severe it is?
I mean, I'm not a doctor, but he has a AC joint on his throwing shoulder. It doesn't sound great.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So it's something that he would, have to manage and play through and all that kind of stuff.
But also, I mean, I think he wants to play. Like, this is his last shot, right? Like, this is like his last lifeline.
How old is Flacco now? Is he 40?
Yeah, he's got to be 41, 42.
I was going to guess 41.
What a hero. All right. Yeah. Why not?
And it's crazy because when that trade happened, I was like, oh, it's going to be an improvement, but like, is it going to just be marginal? Like, yes, he's going to do a lot of things better than Jake Browning, but like, he's actually changed the entire infrastructure of the offense. He's made the offensive line look good. Like, I mean, he's throwing the ball at the fastest rate in the NFL, getting the ball out of his hands. He's been pressured at the fourth lowest rate because he's getting the ball out so fast. Like I said, everything about it, man. Like, Chase Brown's come back from the grave. It's, man, whatever.
All right, let's do it. Let's run down our favorite plays position by position. Before we do that, I do want to mention we have a 3-day pass promo here at RotoGrinders. You want to try out an NFL DFS, all the tools without a full season commitment. For a limited time, get half off a 3-day NFL pass, access to everything you need to crush the slate. The optimizer tool, lineup HQ, packed with player projections, ownership projections, percentages, things of that sort, much, much more. You also get access to SimLabs NFL, which is the easiest way to build smart, competitive lineups in just a few clicks. All that less than $10, $9 and change. Do not miss your chance to get a serious edge this week. Also, if you get that 3-day pass, make sure you time it correctly. Probably don't do it on a Wednesday night. Understand 3 days. All right. If you want to extend longer than 3 days, looking to get into NFL DFS as far as the entire season, more bang for your buck with Combo Pro. Limited time, you get your first month, the Combo Pro, for $79.99. That's only $5 more than an NFL DFS monthly sub. Combo Pro gives you everything else, all the other sports, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, PGA, LOL. I may be missing something. Everything but NASCAR. NASCAR is a la carte. Do check out all the links in the description here on the YouTube. Hit that like button, too, while you're at it. All right. Circling back, let's knock out our favorite quarterbacks. I think both you guys like a lot of quarterbacks this week. Let's see if we whittle them down. Daigle, who is left at quarterback?
All right. Got a couple of them. Let's start with the tournament sentiment after Josh Allen and James Cook combined for 4 rushing touchdowns against the Panthers, is that teams are just going to win with the run against them. And that could be true. We've tried to nuke Jordan Love against past inferior opponents like the Bengals whenever their offensive line was at full strength, understanding they're trying to pass the ball whenever they can. But I am willing to take another chance here against the Panthers. We saw on Sunday night with full strength, the Packers came out with their highest pass rate over expectation, their pass rate from neutral game script. And if you remove Carolina's game against Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor, every quarterback against them since week 4 has reached 22 fantasy points. So I do like Jordan Love and the Packers offense that have a 29-point team total. And then the other one I like is Drake May. The Falcons blitzed Josh Allen on 60% of his dropbacks for their bye, and it worked because he's completed 59% of his passes against the blitz. They blitzed Mac Jones on 54% of his dropbacks, and it worked because Mac Jones has averaged 5.5 yards per attempt against the blitz. But Drake May against the blitz this year, 8.7 yards per attempt, 7 touchdowns to no picks, second in success rate, fourth in EPA per drop back. So I also like getting on May. And then a cheapie, a thin cheapie, but it does allow you to spend up everywhere. Geno Smith is only 4,600 on DraftKings. And the only time the Raiders had Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers at full strength was in week 1, and that's when they had their highest pass rate from neutral game script indoors against the Jaguars this week. Jags allowed 20 fantasy points to Mahomes, Darnold, and Stafford in the 3 games before their bye. So he is strictly just a very cheap option at quarterback.
Raiders coming back from the bye. Showcase game for Jacoby Myers. People will be saying that for sure. We'll see. Who's left? Who do we like on the board here? Reebs. Tyler Shook is still there.
Ooh, he is. Yeah,
he is back there.
Those are Daigle's best ball bags are ready to take off.
They are.
Mine too.
Just don't pay attention to the fact he was 1 of 7 under pressure last week.
That's all right. Listen, they're going to keep throwing it. They're going to keep throwing it.
What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, to me, like this slate, we have the Lions at home. Like the Lions are at home against JJ McCarthy, and this Vikings defense, like the Steelers, like is reputation based. But any good team that the Vikings have played have absolutely flooded them. They've absolutely killed them. So I look at Jared Goff too. Brian Flores has done the same thing to Jared Goff at every game. He's blitzed Goff on 64% of his dropbacks. In 4 games, the lowest rate he's blitzed Jared Goff is 52%. Against the blitz against Brian Flores, Jared Goff's completed 79% of his passes for 8.4 yards per pass attempt. Love the Lions in general. If they're ever going to be like kind of relatively like not popular on a slate where they're at home and could absolutely kind of go nuts, right? Like so, you look at the Vikings, like they've shut down Michael Penix, Jake Browning, and Dylan Gabriel, but Justin Herbert, if he had any pushback, Justin Herbert would have probably scored 30 plus fantasy points in that game last week. Mm-hmm. Jalen Hurts the week before got them downfield. So definitely love Jared Goff as well. And Justin Herbert also I like a lot too, just because the Titans are terrible. Jeffrey Simmons is out. They traded a cornerback, one of their last remaining quarterbacks, Roger McCreary this week. Jerry Sneed's on IR. I don't know how much pushback we get here, but he's in play still too, as well. But Jared Goff is definitely the standout for me. And we talked about the other guys like Daniel Jones, Josh Allen, Mahomes. Love those guys.
Jameson Williams has not caught a pass since week 6, right? He's on bye. He got blanked in week 7. Is he somebody that could possibly catch this is a good defense to catch a long one against them? The price is down. He's right there with Keon Coleman as like most disappointing receiver this season, I imagine.
I think he is got to be arguably the most that draft capital. Like you were
Thomas for Jacksonville.
Yeah. Well, he's like Brian Thomas has had like usable games though.
Yeah. Like, he was like a first, second rounder.
He's been a letdown for sure at ADP. Williams was like a 3rd and 4th round. Like I don't listen, I'm in a main event with buddies like JJ and Dorman, and we were on the clock at 4-5. And I was like adamant I wanted Jalen Hurts and they want Jameson Williams. And when you do draft partners, you acquiesce. And this team we have is a wagon. But if you were to flip Jameson Williams and Jalen Hurts right now, like I would think we'd be the favorites. Like right now, like
it's a wagon with one busted wheel.
Yeah, man. That pick haunts my soul. But listen, when you do drafts with partners, it happens. But they did let me have Rashee Rice in that one, so we got Rashee Rice. So. And he gets who Rashee Rice is playing over every week.
Jameson Williams. He was supposed to carry you the first 6 weeks, though, and that was not the plan. That's not the way. That was the plan. It didn't work out according to the plan. All right, so nothing else as far as quarterbacks.
That was it for me. I'm gonna have a tight pool, I think, with the guys that we talked about.
You always do, though, right? You always kind of whittle it down. Yeah, it just felt like to me it felt a little tougher to do it this week than it did other weeks, and.
Because we want to play Allen, or Mahomes, and we also want to play McCaffrey. So like when you do that, it's now you're starting to feel the squeeze a little bit. I think Hunt opens up a lot now on the slate, and if you want to get to Tracy, I think that's fine because that's why I think the Sims were pushing Warren because he's a guy that projects for like a good median and at that salary. Like that, he was like getting you to the other pieces. But I think now that we're going to have, and we'll probably have some stuff open up along the week because after we do the show, it feels like it always happens.
Yeah. That's why I like Love and May as well, because they have cheap stacking partners Their offenses aren't going to get played at all. So you can insulate the low ownership and then play the high ownership with Hunt and Tracy and not even worry about it.
Rich, give me some running backs.
Well, I want to stay in that same game with the Lions. So I want to play all the Lions again this week. Jahmyr Gibbs, potentially a guy that gets lost in the sauce. Right now, against multiple tight end sets, the Minnesota Vikings are getting absolutely flooded. They allow the most rushing yards in the league against 2 tight end sets. Don't tell Kevin Patullo this stat, but they are 29th in success rate as well. Detroit uses 12 personnel 33% of the time. That's the 6th highest rate in the league. They use 13 personnel 9.4% of the time. That's the 4th highest rate in the league. Gibbs is 4th in the league in rate of runs with multiple tight ends on the field. Over the past 4 games, Spike Weeks to Kenneth Gainwell, 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. Quinshon Judkins, 130 yards. Kamani Vidal on Thursday night. And like, these aren't even guys in Jahmyr Gibbs' class, right? We saw Gibbs before the bye, pop that long one. It was just a matter of time before he was gonna get one and look explosive. But yeah, I'm in on Lions onslaughts this week. Spoiler alert: I'm on Ross St. Brown also. Will be talked about. All the Lions though as well.
You have anybody else as far as running backs that's on your list?
I do, but I was going to say, like, I didn't know if
we'll go back and forth.
Ping pong it back and forth.
Daigle?
I also had David Montgomery on my list as well. When you talk about onslaughting Lions, just because Dave Montgomery has been the most predictable player in fantasy football, even though it doesn't seem like it. He's won in the matchups he's supposed to win. He had 13 points against the Bears, 29 points against the Ravens, 18 points against the Bengals, and he's failed in the matchups he was supposed to fail in. 1 point against the Browns, 8 points against the Chiefs, 5 points against the Bucs. It's just like very clear when to play David Montgomery. This is a 2-touchdown game for David Montgomery. So add him to your list of cheap running backs. Kareem Hunt and Dave Montgomery. Who's to say they can't combine for 6 touchdowns as their own little version of JT and Saquon Barkley? And then I will also add, so Kyrie Williams and Kamani Vidal, Dean, are projecting as the highest owned running backs, right?
Let me check and see.
I think Vidal is like clearly, especially with the Tons Haskins banged up, like probably going to project for one of the highest rostered.
We may have, I would say if we have Haskins ins or Haskins not in, and this stuff, like, it's not gospel, it's Wednesday night.
Yeah.
We have McCaffrey, Warren, Williams, ETN, Cook, Vidal. That's where we're at right now. Brown, wow. Tracy. And also, no, Hunt is going to be somewhere in the mix here. I got to imagine he'll get baked up as the week progresses. This stuff will change.
You have to think
10% right now.
You have to think Warren loses ownership based on those other guys who have so much more touchdown equity. Like I bet, and I don't even want to play Warren even with the ownership coming down just because I like so many other guys. Kyron Williams, I guess, is a little bit concerning, like multiple touchdown upside as well. But we did see in the last game that Blake Corum, back at full strength, did come back in against the Jaguars in garbage time. Again, who's to say indoors, returning from the bye against Tyler Shuck, that the Rams also don't get more garbage time and really takes away from Kyron Williams in the second half. So that's a little bit concerning. My only other cute one I was thinking about, and this is based on we'll have to watch the injury report because the Panthers did lose 3 starting offensive linemen. So we have to monitor it. But Rico Dowdle, if we're expecting a majority of carries, I talked about Jordan Love and the Packers offense. Like Rico Dowdle getting a majority, he was still really good against the Bills defense, 6.8 yards per carry. They talked about Chuba Hubbard as if he passed away, like thoughts and prayers for a guy. Thank you for everything he did for the organization. So like, I think we're going to get like a majority of everything towards Rico Dowdle, who is clearly has been one of the league's most explosive running backs and a sneaky spot. But again, I want to make sure the Panthers offensive line is fully healthy.
Dowdle 5.8 on DK. You had somebody else, Rich?
Well, I was gonna bring up Vidal, but we got there. Just a situation to monitor is the Patriots backfield this week. Stevenson didn't practice today. I don't really know what's going on. We did see some run for Travion Henderson, but teams have started to figure out the Atlanta Falcons here. Teams have figured out that like this is a light defense. They want to play nickel. And you can bully them with heavy sets. Now they have a 52% success rate against running back runs. It's 31st in the NFL. Let's see. What am I saying? Oh, I had some notes here that I was trying to find, but I lost them. Oh, yeah. So Atlanta's faced the most running back runs this season with 2 or more running backs in the field this season, 59. They are allowing 1.7 yards for contact on those runs. That's 25th in the NFL. Now you say, all right, well, they played back-to-back teams in San Francisco and Miami. They use a fullback. Well, they're number 1 and number 2 in teams that use 21 personnel this year. Well, guess who's number 3? The New England Patriots. Patriots are also 5th in the league in rate of 22 personnel. They rank 11th in rushing plays from 12 personnel. And against 2 tight end sets, Atlanta is 30th in yards per carry allowed to running backs as well. I don't know what we're going to get, but Ramondre Stevenson has been usable twice this year, and they were in like clear spots that like Ray Charles saw coming. So if he's healthy and up, he's good. If he's out, then like Travion will be someone that gets, steamed up at the end of the week.
Man, I guess we're just not talking about Bijan Robinson, and you mentioned the Falcons defense, but man, I'm down here in South Florida. I cannot believe that what Miami did. Tua with what the pink eye splits. The Tua pink eye splits are incredible. He should get picked. Is that what he had? I think they allegedly had pink eye. Something going on.
Well, listen, the Patriots haven't allowed more than 49 yards to any running back this season.
Yeah. Well, that's since 1950. Is that the stat? I saw that somewhere. No team is listed.
And the other thing we talked about last week of why we sided with Jonathan Taylor over Bijan Robinson if you only had to pick one. Now it turned out later in the week you could jam both in with what happened. But Tyler Algiers out-touched Bijan Robinson inside the 10-yard line. Like Jonathan Taylor's a share or anything. That's like for when you're paying up for Bijan Robinson. Now, if he ends up tracking below owned, you guys can take your swings at him. He's a guy that possesses that type of upside, but when he's really popular and like you have to make tough inflection points, like you have to remember that like he is conceding like money touches to another back.
Algier outscored Bijan last week because of that carry inside the 10-yard line.
Taylor eats so much of the pie, like you don't even know who his handcuff is. Is it Amir Abdullah? Is it Goodson?
Giddens has been hurt. Like there just isn't a handcuff team.
Which is wild because you'd think in theory, like if somebody would probably, but it'd probably be a split multiple ways. But in theory, the one injury away, what if Taylor goes away?
It's no longer Deion Jackson. We know that. That's all that matters.
Just he's got to stay healthy, obviously. Okay. Anything else as far as running backs? Everybody unload?
Covered a lot of ground through all the stuff. Swift will be, like I said, Swift is a great play if he's like fully healthy too, but keep an eye on it.
He's a better play if Browning's in, like you said?
I actually do think he's a good play regardless, but I think he does get enhanced if Browning's in.
A lot, yeah.
I think that's a good point. It's worth noting. You can play him either way though. Daigle, receivers, what do you got?
Yeah, so I discussed Drake May, so no one's going to play Stephon Diggs. With the Falcons blitzing, they're also playing a top 5 rate of man coverage, leaving their guys one-on-one behind those blitzes. They also have a lot of important injuries in their defense as well. We need to look at the injury report. But Stephon Diggs against man coverage this year has been targeted on 30% of his routes. He is 6th in yards per route run. He's still pretty cheap. If you do play Patriots, Darnell Mooney, if you want to spin down for someone on DraftKings, the last 2 games he finished with both Michael Penix and Drake London, Mooney led them in targets and then led them in receiving yards, as London's target share without Mooney at 41% has decreased to 24% in the games he's played with Mooney, which is pretty wild. And then another spin up option, since we've talked about like 4 or 5K running backs, I'm now ready to tinker and flip the build here after the show and start playing with placeholders. The Broncos did allow 8.2 yards per attempt whenever Pat Surtain left the field. Nico Collins is trending towards returning. And last year, and honestly,
I don't have those stats. I have it at 6.6 yards per pass attempt with Surtain off the field.
In the second half, I have 8.2.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's go.
Oh, I have the Dak stats. You have the
I added Milton because they still have the starters. Like Riley Moss still played.
Yeah, the Milton stats. Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
You had the garbage time.
Yeah, I had a garbage time. All right. Well, regardless, I'll still make my Nico point that, this year he only has 10 targets in man coverage, not even a high rate. But last year he was a guy that's when they dropped back and still looked to him in particular. He was still top 6. I think it was 3rd overall in yards per out run against man coverage last year. So if we get Nico, if we don't have Surtain, there's a little bit of hope here for the Texans offense.
Rich?
I have no hope for the Texans offense.
So you said it's very clear. Ray Charles probably would agree that when CJ Stroud's going to have a big week or not a big week, you're saying
it's been clear. This game opened to a 39.5 point total and got bet down.
It's gone down.
Yeah. I mean, I say it every week, like Texans games, both ways. Now, last week the Texans
their games are averaging a league low 36.6 combined points per game.
Yeah.
These are the two best defenses in the NFL. Like,
is Denver still one of the best defenses without Surtain?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm like, you know better than me. That's why I'm asking. He's the reigning defensive.
Dak had 18 dropbacks to Surtain off the field, 6.1 yards per pass attempt, a 55-yard rating. Last year, Denver had 103 plays with Surtain off the field that allowed 6.6 yards per pass attempt, which would have been second in the NFL. They still have the best pass rush in the NFL.
I left a moan raw to you.
What do you want to say about the Sun God?
I'm not playing with it because I know Trey Franklin's probably going to pop too if Marvin Mims is out, and like it's the same thing. Like it's just chasing the weekly guy that was good the week before for the Broncos, the ancillary dude.
You guys were on it last week. I think one of y'all was featured.
Yeah, I played a ton of Franklin.
He said Franklin. I said Mims.
Yeah, I had a ton of Franklin last week.
I got the Mims overthrow. Is what I got.
Sneaky Troy Franklin. Franklin is now the wide receiver 3 in red zone target share. He has 12 red zone targets. Wow. He also is 4th in target rate on play action passes. The shower narrative is coming true for shout out Adam Levitan. And hey, is Daigle asked Levitan if he's on the supreme shower narrative this week with the Juwan Johnson and Tyler Shuck, who were roommates at Oregon way back in 2019.
There's a supreme if you're not just teammates, you have the roommates. I
don't know, but I would just say it was they were college teammates, and Juwan Johnson's been in the NFL for like 6 years.
Yeah. Well,
that's amazing.
Shuck put like 7 years in college or something like that.
Yeah.
When he was Justin Herbert's backup, he roomed with Juwan Johnson.
Yeah, I somehow was listening to an interview with him, and they were talking to him about that. They still keep in touch, that kind of thing. But
when he was drafted, they reached out to
him. Did you want to give me some more color to Amon-Ra, or just Amon-Ra is a good play and you like Detroit, and that's pretty straightforward? Rich.
Yeah, well, John Morton's just kind of just funneling everything through Amon-Ra, unfortunately, for Jameson Williams and those of us who drafted him in the 4th round. But he's now the wide receiver 3 in target share, the wide receiver 5 in yards per out run. He leads all wide receivers with 44% of his team's red zone targets at home this year, which always the Lions like to get on. 9 for 115 and 3, 7 for 70 and 2, 6 for 186 and 1. He gets an added boost because he's been targeted on 33% of his routes with 3 yards per out run against the blitz. Against Brian Flores' defenses, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 12 for 106 and 1, 7 for 144 and 1, 8 for 112 and 1. Kept us nice and honest here with a 6 for 77. But in those matchups, he's caught 25 of 29 targets for 352 yards, 4.8 yards per out run, and 3 touchdowns against the blitz. Minnesota blitz is isolated. So, yeah, all the Lions, they might be the wagon of the week.
Do we have an early clubhouse leader for like 4K and under favorite receiver? I don't know, favorite's not necessarily the right word. One you're most likely to use or willing to play. Io Manor, DK. I see them landing in some lineups. Anything that's to monitor.
Well, it sounds like both Nico and Kirk are going to be back, so we lost the Texans cheapies.
Yeah.
No, honestly,
Daigle gave you Slayton at 4-1. He's relatively interesting, I think, at that price point because what he offers in terms of upside.
Slayton and Pierce are my 2 favorite.
4-7 Travis Hunter is pretty interesting.
Oh yeah,
there's some coach speak, right, that he might after coming out of the bye, some elevation as far as featuring him more. Is that something we think might come to fruition?
I mean, now you want to be ahead of it because once you see it, like he had the good game in the second half against the Rams in London. Everyone kind of it's kind of out of sight, out of mind for people, but he's 4-7. Like if you want to be ahead of it before it happens,
and it's the Raiders in a dome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Raiders, 25th in points allowed per target to wide receivers, 25th in touchdown rate. The last 2 games, he has run a route on 88%, 89% of the dropbacks. You'd want to play him on DraftKings more than FanDuel because the full PPR stuff too. So 4.7 is pretty appealing. I know that's not as cheap as what you were looking for.
Yeah, no, that's a good name. I think that's a good name, and they might get De'Ami Brown back as well for what it's worth. I don't know if he's gonna be their fourth receiver or something.
Even though it's tight though, like I don't know what it looks like on FanDuel, but I know on DraftKings with Hunt and Tracy, even if you just play one, you only need to play a couple 4K wide receivers. It's not like incredibly tight. The real problem is that we've talked about this slate and still have tight ends to go for an hour and a half. And like, I don't have anything dwindled down. Like I like a lot of offenses this week. That's my issue.
Yep. Oh yeah. There's a lot of teams in good spots, but yeah, I don't know if there is like I don't think Dean looking at I'm just naked eyeballing this on.
Yeah.
Under like Hunter, Pierce, Slate, and like there's not a lot that stands out.
Because Kelsey also counts as a mid 4K
Kelsey's
player that you can flex. Yeah.
I'm sorting by point per dollar on our lineup HQ tool. And first guy, by the way, point per dollar, it's always funny when it's somebody super expensive. Jamar Chase, then Puka Nacua. Those are the two best. And then Iomanor and Zacchaeus, so you guys said is questionable. We'll see.
We just got to wait on the Bear stuff.
But nobody
because honestly, we didn't even talk about like if those guys are out and like Flacco ends up like DJ Moore is interesting in that game. Like there's a lot. There's a lot that could happen.
It's not a lot to like in these three.
And like we just DK Metcalf, I said at 5.5 too. Like I think we've talked to we found some guys. Like maybe not at like punts, but like we found some value. I think
we found a lot of guys. Again, the issue is dwindling them down and playing the right combo.
Right. Yeah.
It's gonna be tough to make lineups this week for sure. A lot of decision points. Rich, tight ends, what do you
got? We've kind of just danced all around it. We talked about Kelsey, Kraft, Bowers. I think that's it, man. Like I'm pretty good at like those guys. And Tyler Warren.
Damn.
How do you not play 5K Bowers, assuming if he's healthy? 5K Bowers, that's
matchup is amazing. You're assuming he's healthy. We don't know if they're even going to play Jacoby Myers because they're trying to trade him.
Yeah,
like we won't know until Sunday, but
I think that's an awesome play, and we're assuming he's going to
because all the peripherals are still good, but even while he was affected by injury. He was the tight end 4 in target rate per out run. He was the tight end 5 in yards per out run while he was playing. And then he's going into a matchup against the Jaguars, who have been crushed by tight ends the whole year. They're 24th in yards per target, 16th in touchdown rate, 19th in receptions allowed per game to the position. Yeah, he's just objectively too cheap.
Daigle?
Yeah, we talked about all the ones we are going to play, the expensive guys throughout this slate. That's usually like last week, we have been allowed double tight end weeks a couple times, or had a cheap option to gravitate to. Mason Taylor was the guy last week, all because of injuries. But that's not really the case this week, as the healthy guys, the expensive ones, are returning and in great matchups. So I just don't really think there's someone I'm waiting on. Like Colston Loveland, I could see potentially getting there if all the dominoes fall correctly. But other than that, I don't think there's a value here.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what we have as far as our tight ends. I mentioned before, Theo Johnson getting a lot, Kelsey, Kraft, Pitts. We don't know who's quarterbacking for Atlanta, but I guess you want Penix in there. Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, you do.
He wants to play for a team. Who floated that? His agent. Imagine
no one had better weeks last week than Michael Penix and Bryce Young. No, nobody ran pure.
I mean, I just felt bad for Kirk Cousins' agent. Had to float it out there. They're like, Kirk Cousins would love a starting gig somewhere. It's like,
of course he would.
Who saw that tape and was like, "You get me this guy"?
Well, listen, someone traded for Flacco. Like, there's someone like when like Browns Flacco and what we got. Like,
yeah, but the Flacco tape was better than the Cousins tape, right? I would imagine.
Oh yeah, Cousins. There was one pass where I think Darnell Mooney was just gonna like go, like he was gonna leave the field. He was like, I can't.
I thought he did.
He did, yeah, like pretty much.
And he's like, I'm gone.
He ran like a deep dig, and Kirk Cousins just like airmailed it, and like you could just see like Mooney's face, like I can't even believe this.
Even Gadsden got the Thursday night bump. He's 5,300 on DK, so it's just all the elite values are like we said, Kelsey, Bowers, Tucker, Warren, they're all priced around the supposed value. So you just play them.
All right.
I think at like projected ownership, and it might change, but I think Warren is my favorite tight end play on the slate.
Yeah, you're spending up $500 more than Bowers. I think his ownership's going to fall behind Bowers. Yeah, I think it's a good call.
I think I still like Kelsey and Kraft. I think I might like, well.
Is it a double tight end week? Maybe. Because
if you in the flex, like you have an opportunity, all the guys we're talking about, Tyrone Tracy, David Montgomery, they're the same price as Brock Bowers, basically.
Who'd you rather have?
That's a great question. That's what I'm trying to figure out, Dean. I'm trying to answer.
This is where I like being the host and I don't have to answer.
Yeah, but I'd take Bowers over those guys.
I think Bowers too.
Over David Montgomery?
I mean, I talked about Geno Smith. So
on a full PPR site?
I can't not say Bowers when I mentioned Geno Smith at 4,600.
You're pot committed to Geno. Both those teams coming up by, right? Jaguars and Raiders. I think both teams coming up by.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's the other two games at the 4:00 window is Jacksonville Raiders, of course, Kansas City Buffalo, and then Tyler Shook versus the Rams with 14-point dogs.
That's not a game. It's so non-competitive that the Rams and the Saints didn't even make the pick six. When the Saints don't make the pick six, it's not a competitive game.
Yeah, it's going to be the fastest pace according to the Blitz, but I guess we don't care.
We always are.
Yeah,
it always is.
Giant San Fran.
It always is in the States.
Okay. Favorite?
Yeah, Giant San Fran is like the cheapy stack.
Give me, with that in mind, maybe you want to go back there, Rich, before we bring in TJ and Rob and we talk about weapons. Give me your favorite stack on a Wednesday night.
I think Daniel Jones, Tyler Warren, DK Metcalf, and all the Lions, and the Lions wagon, of course.
The wagons are your thing. Daigle, see those stacks, raise them. What do you got?
Gosh, man. Oh man. There's so many good plays. I like the Josh Allen naked with Chiefs coming back. I think that's a unique way to play it. I do like Jordan Love a lot. And with no potential run back, with Kraft and Christian Watson. And man, I guess Geno, Bowers, and Travis Hunter.
That's an interesting one. I
like the Colts too, though. I like Colts a lot too.
All right,
there's so many.
Yeah. Before we name everything, let's go ahead. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and bring in TJ and Rob. That's it for the football. TJ watching his Blue Jays. I assume he's going to pop in here. I don't know how the Blue Jays are doing. Last we saw, they're up 2-0. Myself, I'm tilting Anthony Davis. You're not going to believe it. You guys sitting down. Anthony Davis got hurt. So my basketball night is ruined. Nobody cares about that.
We are shocked.
Mr. Glass himself. TJ, how the Blue Jays doing?
3-1 right now. Kike hit a home run to make it 2-1, and then Varsho tripled. He got knocked home with a sac fly. So exciting game so far. Doing well. Savage looks incredible. I think when I came in here, he was up to 8 strikeouts.
There you go. Good luck to Toronto. Rob, how are things? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. While we're on the topic of baseball, will you guys indulge me for a few minutes here?
Sure.
We are a wrestling show as well. And I don't know, did anyone else see that Scott Steiner posted a World Series math tweet? Did you guys see this?
No, I didn't see it. No. I love his the famous promo. You probably have it memorized.
I have it pulled up. Do you want me to read it for you guys?
Please.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Who would object?
He's got props. For those that are just listening, he's got the old stuff. Yeah, the Scott Steiner. What do we call that?
We're going to do this. We're going to do it right. And all right. Oh, you want Steiner math for the World Series? You want me to break it down between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Blue Jays from Mexico North? Well, sit down, shut up, and listen to the numbers. You see, normally each team's got a 50-50 chance of winning, but the Dodgers are a powerhouse. Lineup, bullpen, bigger payroll than most countries' budgets. That gives them a 75% chance off the jump. Home field advantage at 15%. 75% plus 15% equals 90%. Blue Jays, they're from Mexico North. Soft schedule, cold weather, long flight. Subtract 10% for travel, 5% for nerves. That, under the lights, 50% minus 15% equals 35%. But the Dodgers' momentum drops that another 20%. Final math, Dodgers 90% plus 20% clutch equals 110%. Blue Jays 35% minus 20% equals 15%. And the numbers don't lie. They spell disaster for the Blue Jays.
Are you scared now, TJ? Are you now feeling like your Blue Jays can't win?
Well, the Blue Jays have home field advantage, not the Dodgers, because the Blue Jays won more games this year. And
Pick it up a Scott Steiner.
And the Dodgers have a shitty bullpen too, so I'm not worried because the numbers are lying. The numbers are lying.
TJ's going to get put in the Steiner recliner.
In case you guys didn't know, that's the end of football. Football's over. We appreciate you guys listening. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, come back for week 10. If you want to hang out with us for a bit, we're going to talk about weapons. This, of course, was Rich's choice. Rich chose weapons, came out this year. Weapons, big hit as well. I can go ahead and read the synopsis on Rotten Tomatoes. When all but one child from the same class mysteriously vanish on the same night at exactly the same time, a community is left questioning who or what is behind their disappearance. Daigle, I know you were in the chat and you said you're very excited to talk about weapons, so I want you to talk about it first.
I don't know if you said this, but before Daigle starts, we are going to spoil this movie.
We're going to spoil the hell out of this movie.
If you haven't seen this movie, you need to. This is one of those movies that you should watch first.
And you should know nothing about.
Yes.
So don't listen to what we say.
Good thing you said that.
Having said that, I watched overnight Sunday while I was writing. And I texted Rob around 2 a.m. just because I didn't know who watched it in the chat. But being a horror movie, I knew Rob had watched it. And I wanted to talk to somebody about it because I had so much fun. What was so cool about this movie is that it's just refreshing. And like every week we show up to this show and we discuss how movies and TV shows are only remade nowadays. There's no more unique ideas. But entire time this movie was going on, I was just thinking, this is so cool. Like, I'm having a good time. I don't know how it ends. I don't know what's happening. I don't care because I'm so curious. And what's happening right now, whether it's the storyline, the way it was shot, the way it was presented in chapters, it's just all so unique to me that this is awesome. And then also, it's just the fact that I don't, horror is not typically my genre. And although this definitely should qualify as a horror movie, it's kind of also more of a thriller. And I'm okay with that. A thriller with good storyline. So just the fact that it was presented so uniquely that it captured me and frustrating me that I couldn't help out, even in understanding what was going on. I thought it was awesome. Like, I enjoyed the hell out of it. And so I texted Rob. He texted back about the director, Zach Kreger, who I watched The Whitest Kids You Know. I used to own the DVDs because I love sketch comedy. And so I was like, okay, one, I can't realize the director came that far as a sketch comedy actor in Whitest Kids You Know, all the way to being like one of the most prolific horror movie directors. I had no idea he also directed and wrote Barbarian in 2022. So then Monday night, I go and I watch Barbarian. I just go down the Zach Kreger list because I'm so infatuated with the storylines and how he presents it. So I have a review on both Weapons and Barbarian, Dean, if you ever want it.
I actually saw Barbarian. That's the one that gets really, really weird in like the third act. I'm pretty sure.
It's horror movie Parasite. It's done a little worse than Parasite, but it's kind of the same thing.
Yes, that's a good way to phrase it. Spoiler.
You can find the Agents of Phantom interview with Zach Kreger up on the Agents of Phantom YouTube channel.
I've gone down the Kreger rabbit hole, so I might have to now.
Yeah, and it's good. I'm glad you brought that up. The Weapons writer Zach Kreger, he wrote this film, Weapons, in tribute to his friend and The Whitest Kids You Know co-founder Trevor Moore, who died a couple years ago. And they were a sketch comedy group, and there is some comedy in this movie, I would say.
Yep.
There's some light moments, even though it's it's a horror movie. I didn't watch The Whitest Kids You Know, but it's Like I think it's kind of like Upright Citizen Brigade, like something like that. I imagine. Is that it was sketch comedy, right?
It was similar to the Andy Milonakis show. It was just very, very dumb humor that is sketch comedy. Yeah,
The Andy Milonakis show.
I mean, that's what it, dude. Andy Milonakis show was awesome. Don't knock the Andy Milonakis show.
You are showing our particular age with everything that you were saying.
Hilarious.
He had a moment. He definitely had a window, Andy Milonakis. Yeah. So, Rob, your thoughts as far as weapons?
It is up there for one of my favorite films of the year, for sure. I enjoyed Weapons a ton for everything that Daigle said. And I think that this is me getting on my horror movie soapbox a little bit here. But I think that what Daigle said is true, where like we are just not getting refreshing movies. Like we're not getting new ideas. The one genre that you are getting like risk taken is in the horror genre over the last 2 to 3 years. And it's the one genre that's making money consistently as well, which is funny.
Is that all because of Jordan Peele?
One of two. Anime making a lot of money at the box office right now.
Yeah, anime is doing well as
is
well.
The rise of horror movies like Jordan Peele or like his influence?
I think he's part of it because he did make something different, but I think his influence has already sort of jumped the shark in a way, because his particular brand of movies is already sort of gone by the wayside. I don't even know if Him came out yet, but I think it did or didn't. It's not tracking well.
It came out.
And it did not get received well.
Yeah, I don't think he directed that though. I think he might have just been a producer on that, but it was still like under his umbrella. Yeah, but I do think he helped jumpstart it, with some of the movies that he did. But I just think in general, they're cheaper to make. You're able to take the risk a little bit easier, and they are returning money. So when some of your best movies of the year are Sinners, are Weapons, not saying that there's not other good movies, but it's just a genre that it needed a renaissance. We had the worst decade of horror from like 2000 to 2012 was just egregiously bad. So it's refreshing that we're getting this little renaissance, and I'm sure it'll come and go just like it does with every genre. But right now, horror is making some of the best movies that are out there.
I guess that makes sense because one battle after another, I think it was reported lost 150 million in the box office, even though it's going to be a finalist and maybe probably even win best film of the year. But this was great. This was so much fun.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned Jordan Peele, because I actually, in the research I did, I was digging into this stuff, and he wanted to buy the script. Zach Kreger, the script was available. It was basically up to the highest bidder, and his production company, he told us whoever's running it, get this script. He liked this script, and they didn't get it. He didn't get the script, and he fired the guy. That's how mad he was. So
I could see that it has like his fingerprints all over it. You would think he was the one that helped write and direct it if you didn't know better.
Yeah, and if you don't know, Get Out, Us, Nope. That's if you're not aware, that's Jordan Peele stuff. Jump in here, Rich. Your thoughts as far as weapons?
Yeah, had fun with it. I'm curious because Rob watched it again. So this is a movie where I watched it in the first watch, and I was genuinely intrigued, captivated me. I wanted to know what was going to happen, and then afterwards, the more I think about the movie, I think just how it falls apart. Like there's just so much of this movie, like when you start to give like actual like breakdown the story, like doesn't hold up. But I was invested in like for those 2 hours, like I genuinely cared about what happened. So like when you knew like what was going to happen, did it stick for you the second time?
Yeah, I thought through the second time it was still fine. I think the first watch through, even though I enjoyed it thoroughly, there were still a few hiccups here and there for me as you watch it. And one of it is her just not getting out quick enough, right? Like I understand like what she's doing and her whole purpose, but I feel like the character of her character is lingering too long for people to start come looking, and it just seems like the contingency plan is bad for her. But I mean, I'm arguing semantics right now about the plot, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just like I was like when you think about it, just like the like the community, like it opens with like the voiceover, which I don't really understand why there's a voiceover for this movie.
I hated that, by the way.
Because like it starts with like what this is a true story, the kids never come back, but then we get to the movie, the kids do come back. And then like when it opens, you got the community all like at the rally at the school, but like it honestly, it only seems like 2 people that are affected by this in the whole town. Like like all the kids missing. Like it's just what's
Josh
her
Brolin
name?
was very angry. Yeah,
Josh. What's the girl's name? I know TJ.
Julia Garner.
Julia Garner. Yeah, thank you. They're the only 2 that like still care at this point. Like there's only 2 that care at this point. But like I said, first watch, I generally had fun with it. I feel like this is a movie on subsequent watches, like I would start to be like, oh yeah, like this doesn't hold up, and it starts to fall apart. But I was genuinely captivated for the 2 hours and had fun with it.
Mm-hmm. TJ?
I don't have a whole lot to add, actually. I kind of have the same opinion as Daigle and Rich, where I thought that like this was so incredible as I was watching it, but then a bit of a stronger opinion on I think it fell apart pretty hard for me. And the reason for that was just because I was so invested in the story. I loved the way of storytelling from all these different perspectives leading up to the final moment. And then I just found the final moment pretty underwhelming. I found the reveal of what was actually happening to the kids fairly underwhelming. And what I think part of that was I had too high of expectations. Like that, it was a bit of a me problem where this is a movie where, you know, everybody I know had seen it already. I've heard from many people that like it's arguably the movie of the year. It's up there with Sinners and One Battle After Another. And for me, it wasn't. The first 2 acts were, and then the third act wasn't. And so with really high expectations, it didn't meet them, but it was still a movie that I had a good time with the whole time. The cast was all incredible. The performances from each individual person was awesome. The story had me gripped right until the end. I was just a little bit disappointed by the end.
Yeah, I love the structure. The structure was awesome. Just and like the way the different perspectives, I thought that was really, really well done. That's my favorite part. Just kind of the storytelling mechanisms. And maybe because I'm not like a big like horror fan, you know, I did not love. I was hoping for a more grounded reason for why the kids are missing. I wasn't hoping for like it's this parasite witch, you know, that I was hoping for something like, oh well, that's a logical way. This makes sense. And again, this is more because I'm probably not a horror guy. I didn't dislike it, didn't hate it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought the storytelling was better than the actual story, and the closure of like, well, this is why the kids ran it at 217, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys know, 217 was an homage to The Shining. Shining, it was room 217 in the books, and I think the TV movie, maybe not the actual movie, but yeah, I think they changed it in the movie. But that was an homage to 217 as far as the time. But yeah, the storytelling was spectacular, but I just wanted a more grounded reason. Is that silly, Rob, that I wanted a grounded reason? Outside, like, it's a witch and a parasite, and okay, I guess.
Well, I thought it was a clever way to do a witch movie. Like it makes it very different. That's sort of
they're making an own movie on her because like I wanted to know more about like the actual like what was the actual lore of she was doing. Like, because they made it sound like she was like stealing like kind of like the life force from everyone, but like it wasn't working. Like she said she needed to get all those young kids, but like the kids, like they were just like in the basement, like they were just still alive. I don't know. I didn't really like fully understand like the whole, like I got just the surface level of it. But I think when you start, like I said, the more you think about this movie and what's happening, is like the more I'm like, I start to have like issues with it. I'm like, I just need to step away and just have fun with it.
It's working. It's taking longer because you do see her at her oldest like progression point at one point. So the kids, she's sucking the life force out of the kids that are in there. And I have a few nitpicks with the movie. Horror movies are usually allegories for something else. That's just just what a horror movie generally is.
This one has like 7.
Right. It does have like 7. And I think it does them relatively well because I hate when they beat you over the head with what they're trying to show you. The one scene in this movie that is just, they should have just cut out of the entire movie is when the gun is above the house.
They are. Yeah.
That was, I was like, what are we doing here? like that, it just, we're already suspending disbelief. And I hate when you're suspending disbelief in a movie. for certain things, and they just throw this entirely different monkey wrench and never do anything like that again in the movie. So that was my one scene in the movie where I'm like, you could just remove that because we already know what you're trying to say with this movie, with what you're doing. So that was my one like little nitpick, I would say.
Yeah, that stuff they did with the, I think the addiction and the parasite stuff was more well done than the gun violence angle.
Do you guys know who played the witch? It was the mom from Field of Dreams. Mom from Uncle Buck. That was the mom from Field of Dreams and from Uncle Buck. Amy Madigan.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. She's like in her 70s now. But yeah, if you've seen,
she was great.
She was awesome. Yeah, she was spectacular. I have a my nitpick is kind of like a silly one, and I was curious if anybody else noticed the same thing, and I did a Google on it. But remember the couple? They were sitting down. They're going to watch like their nature video or something like that. Mm-hmm. They had 7 hot dogs.
That was his addiction. That's why they did the candy on his desk, and then they were at the grocery store and they're picking out cereal and like, yeah, that was his addiction.
Okay, I mean, I just thought, and then so
that was an homage to the as we brought up
the whitest kid you know. Yeah, so there was a skit where I guess this Trevor Moore was involved in where the guy goes as doctor and says he has 7 hot dogs, and I guess that's what it was.
A day,
yeah. So, but like and they're all made like maybe if I want another hot dog, I'll get up and make my own. But they're all made. They're mustarded and everything. They're dressed. It's a little nitpick. It's a silly nitpick, but I thought it was kind of and that there's 2 of them. The 3.5. One person gets 4. I don't know how that works. I don't even divide it among.
Well, they were all for BD, man. They were all for BD.
It was all 7 for him. I don't know about the delegation of the hot dogs, but I thought that was
I mean, listen, we got to see BD Wong, Naruto running. Like that's definitely a bonus points.
That was so much fun. That was so fun.
My only problem is when the kids all chased her at the end, no one Naruto ran. Like they were just like plowing through houses like the Kool-Aid man. But like because when BD was chasing Julie Garner, like she's full on, man, like the whole way.
I love that implies the Naruto running was just specifically from the old lady. Like the little kid clearly had not seen Naruto anime yet. And so because of that, he wasn't getting them to do the run. That was just all her.
I think that was a 1 or 2 at the end, wasn't it? Wasn't that all like a one shot with the running? I feel like it was. Maybe I'm making that up, but that scene was awesome. Yeah, it was a good scene. It was a good scene.
Did you saw this in the theater, Rob?
Yeah.
How was that received in the theater?
I think that from what I heard walking out, the ending people either loved or it took them completely out of it.
I was thinking that even when it finished, I was like, I bet I didn't look at grades because I wanted to judge it accordingly. I'm a professional, but I was thinking, I bet people didn't like this ending, and I don't care because I had fun with this movie.
Yeah, it's totally reminiscent to Barbarian. Because it's sort of the same thing with Kreger's other movie. It's like you either like that ending or you absolutely hated it. So,
does he have any like straight comedy movies? I didn't go into.
He did Miss March, if I remember correctly.
Miss March?
Yeah, it came out.
Okay.
Was that the one that came out like in 2009 or something?
Yeah.
That's before I feel like he started dabbling with this kind of genre.
Yeah.
He stars in it as well. Him and Zach Kreger and Trevor Moore, they wrote it and directed and starred in it together. So I don't know if I've seen that before. It sounds familiar.
I've seen it, but it's one of those movies I know I saw it and I don't remember any of it. He's getting the Resident Evil franchise though.
Oh wow!
And I have high hopes because that's one of my favorite gaming franchises, and I don't think any of the movies have ever come close to doing that franchise justice. So I'm hoping he actually does some justice to the Resident Evil franchise.
We got anything else before we play the old Rotten Tomatoes IMDb game?
See this movie.
Yeah. I would definitely recommend it for everyone watching it.
Note OM logged out of the chat. Remember, he's the person who also watched Bone Saw. What was that movie called?
Bone Tomahawk.
Oh,
Bone
Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk with us, and it still haunts him to this day. The person was
Me
split
too.
in half, but he actually logged out of the chat to go watch this movie, and he'll realize that someone else gets split in this movie as well.
Not
Not as
quite,
brutal.
Not quite as
And the kids ripped
Hell
her
yeah.
face open at the end.
Hell
That was
yeah.
pretty great.
Good stuff.
I didn't think it was as horror-y though as most say. Like I thought like it was more like suspense thriller-y stuff. Like they tried to the tropey jump scare stuff, but like it wasn't as I didn't feel like it was as horror elements of it.
That's why
I thought I was gonna walk into.
The
Because I
cliche
watched it with Jenny and she was like, she doesn't like horror movies at all, and she was like kind of like, I don't want to watch this, but then like was just kind of, it was like more thriller. You know?
She like it?
She was intrigued by it. It's not like really her kind of movie, but she was entertained by it. Like I don't think she would watch it again.
The cliche jump scare stuff is why I don't watch horror movies. I hate that feeling of anticipation. And so there was a couple of moments like that. Otherwise, though, it was an easy movie to get through.
The reflection in the TV, I think, was one of the better jump scares, and the cutting of the hair scene was really good too. There was a good build for that.
That was a good thriller.
That's not what I expected because we didn't know at that point. Like, when it happened. I was like, what the hell just happened?
Part of it for me might have had to do with I was watching it in the middle of the day and I turned all the lights off, but like sun was still shining in through the blinds. And so I agree like 100% with what you guys were saying. More thrill. I was texting a friend as I was watching and I was like, this is not as scary as I expected. More, I think I actually just said thriller vibes. So same page here.
I know you were genuinely curious on like what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard people similar like to TJ's reaction where if they heard the hype around it, it doesn't sort of live up to it for them at that point.
That's anything though.
It's fair, but I'm just glad that I did see this early because I wasn't going to, and I
think even if you don't like this, it's a movie though that at least is unique enough to where you're like, even for the time you would watch it, you'd be like, oh, that at least kept me interested for those 2 hours where everything's just so cookie cutter what we're getting spoon fed to us right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not a throwaway movie. Like you're gonna have an opinion on it.
Even when I didn't like what the resolution was, I was still interested in watching the movie. Like I was enjoying what I was watching for 83% of it, and then the rest of it I was still invested in, even though I wasn't fond of how it concluded.
I don't want the prequel, is what I will say. I don't want them to do that. So I hope that gets killed.
Well, what's the worst that happens? You just don't like it. And does that ruin this movie somehow if the prequel's bad?
I think that, I don't know if you guys want to have this conversation right now, but I hate horror movie like origin stories. And I hate it in certain like comic book characters as well. Because with characters, especially in horror franchises, the mystique is part of the character. And sometimes when you reveal too much of the origin, it kills some of the mystique. And also sometimes they do it to sort of get you to have like an emotional connection to the killer, like when it just should be somebody that's pure evil. Like that was my problem with the Joker movie with Phoenix in it, because like you should never have like you should never feel bad for the Joker, right? He is sort of the embodiment of evil. There shouldn't be an emotional connection to him. And although that was a good movie, I just wish it wasn't about the Joker, right? So that's sort of like my whole thing with these prequel movies for characters like that.
I'm thinking of Pearl and
Didn't you see the second one? It wasn't about the Joker.
I have not watched the second one.
I saw the
Me
second
neither.
one.
I just know how it ended.
My problem with the second one is that it was a terrible movie. So, because I did watch it, and I would have walked out 45 minutes in, but I had a giant margarita, and I wasn't going to leave that behind. So I stayed for the entire piece of shit film, and it's the biggest hour and a half I've wasted in my entire life.
How much worse would it have been if you had no margarita? Like, imagine that.
I would have. I'm not kidding. I would have walked out. I didn't want to leave my drink. I am being 100% serious. It's the only reason I didn't walk out.
You're pot committed.
It is awful. It is. Do not watch it. Do not watch it.
Yeah, I didn't understand. I don't know anybody. I don't know who that was for. But yeah, I wanted to like it. I did not. I did not like it.
No.
Okay. Let's put a score on weapons. Well, no scores. Let's guess the Rotten Tomatoes score Rich, you're going first. Critics and audience.
This one's high, right? Like this is pretty buzzy. My assumption would be both scores high, critics higher. 88% critics, 80% audience.
All right, Daigle.
And it came out at a perfect time to have like a higher critic score too.
Critics 81, audience 76.
TJ.
I would go critics 93, audience 88. I don't know why, but I wanted to get an 88 in there. I was originally going to go critics 88, but then Rich took it. And so I just flopped it and I made critics even higher, and I still used 88 for audience.
Rob.
You were right around where I was going for both. 91 for critics, 86 for audience.
Well, TJ did get the Showcase Showdown for the critics, 93% for the critics out of 374 critics. The audience, you guys danced around it as well, 85% for the audience. So, yeah, really, really well received. And, like, even if we didn't like certain parts of it, you're still giving me a thumb up, right? I'm going to give it a thumb up. You know, that's how that works. I
was disappointed by the ending, but this was still a 4 out of 5, like 4-star movie for me.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes rules you'd have thumbed up it.
Yeah, easy.
100%.
Yeah,
easy thumb up. Rob, 1 out of 10, IMDb. What do you got?
That's 1 out of 5 for me. For the guess. Sorry, I'm jumping the gun here. 7. 7.
7. TJ.
I went too high.
7, 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
John.
I was gonna say 7-1.
Okay, Rich, you want to middle it?
I'll 7-2 it then.
Damn it!
You gotta go 7-0 and just have everything below it.
I think it's probably 7 low 7s, right? And it's new.
Yeah.
This might go down over time, but it's new still.
7.5. So I thought somebody might think if he just kept going down incrementally.
Yeah, we just kept going down one at a time.
Yeah, 7.5 for IMDb score, which is a really, really strong number. That's a big, strong number there on IMDb. Let's go ahead and give it a grade. TJ, do you have a superhero?
Yeah, in the last year or so, there is one superhero show that was the most popular by a pretty significant margin. Viewers just absolutely loved it, and it was about a witch who sucked the youth out of other witches to live as long as she could. And that was Agatha All Along, which for some reason J3 really wanted Dean, you to join my show for that one.
You're not going to believe it. I did not see this.
The viewers were popping. People loved the show. And so it kind of felt fitting for Weapons, considered that was what the reveal was. And I will say this is Agatha Harkness.
John, a wrestler?
The initial thought was to go with Boogeyman, but I think that's too on the nose. And so I'm going to zoom out and add some more context. And actually, the most recent example we've had of a similar witch-like wrestler was whenever Alexa Bliss returned and joined Bray Wyatt, who I've used as a score in the past. I can't remember what movie, but I remember talking about him. Alexa Bliss then was given the powers to hypnotize people as a dark witch type individual. So I'm going to go, this movie is Alexa Bliss returning with Bray Wyatt.
I wish every girl could be more like Alexa Bliss.
Also, my favorite band is Bowling for Soup.
I love Bowling for Soup.
Your favorite band's Bowling for Soup? Really?
They are. I'm terrible at music though, so don't ask me for good music opinions. I only listen to hip hop and Bowling for Soup. Pretty much nothing changes.
I love that. I love that so much.
They're playing the week after my birthday. They're headlining Wembley, and it's like my favorite band. They don't have much longer, honestly, because they're all out of shape. They don't really make new music, and so I'm really considering zooming off to London just for a show at Wembley, December 13th.
I know 1985. I know that song. That's a fun song for sure. I'm sure
everyone knows that one. Yeah.
You'd know a lot more than you realize.
Is it so, Rich? If you're gonna be, if your favorite band was either Bowling for Soup or Train, which would you prefer as your favorite band?
I forgot that we did.
Give Bowling for Soup more credit than Train. I'm cooler than Dak Prescott.
Do we approve, Rob? I want to know if you approve of Alexa Bliss.
No, he nailed it. Honorable mention would have been Luna Vachon for me. Somebody that was just completely different in an era of divas. So a different movie coming out when we're getting a lot of the same stuff is the way I would went with it.
That's a good one.
Give us your favorite Bowling for Soup song in the comments section if you're still listening.
Belgium, but no one remembers that song.
I'll listen to it after the show.
You're gonna hate it.
All the bad
do
guy
it.
wants.
You said you're gonna hate it.
Girl, all the
Don't
bad
do it.
guys want. Punk Rock 101. High School Never Ends.
They actually just released a live album of their most recent tour because they went on a 20-year anniversary tour of A Hangover You Don't Deserve. They only played that album. I was there when they came to Chicago because I go see them every time they come to Chicago. And they actually put it on a vinyl, so I got it in the mail the other day.
Is it worse than live albums?
Huh?
You have a record player?
I do. I got a record player like 3 weeks ago.
Just for this record?
No. I've been wanting one anyways, but the record happened to drop like very close, so I got it.
Is a sign.
Yeah.
Rob, 1 through 5, what do you got?
I'm gonna give it a 4-1. I just think it's a really solid movie. One of my favorites of the year. Again, it's not Sinners, but it's up there, and it's when I do my top 3 horror movies at the end of the year for 2025, I won't be shocked if it's in there at number 2.
What else is in the conversation right now? Sinners?
Well, Sinners is one for sure right now. It's that, and
There's something off the board we're not aware of?
it's not really horror, but I like The Long Walk a ton. That was really good.
I watched that on Tuesday. I really did nothing but watch movies and write, if you couldn't tell, the last like 72 hours. Yeah.
Is that streaming now, or you got to pay for it for streaming, right?
You have to. Well, go ahead, Rob.
I think you have to pay for it, right? Like you still have to buy the movie at this point in time.
Yes, but I saw it.
Yes.
I remember Rich. I think Rich recommended it earlier.
Yeah, I seen it. I seen it as well.
What's not on the list is the last Conjuring movie. That is a pile of absolute trash.
Worst 5 is a fun list too. That's interesting. I want to hear that one as well. I want both lists. All right, I'm going to give it a 72. I'll give it a 72 out of 100. 72 out of 100. I think that's pretty solid. Rich, do you have a tight end for us?
Yeah, probably the easiest one that you could ever have. Movie named Weapons. Unique. Keeps you entertaining. Is it great? Some people would say it is. How is this not the most Taysom Hill movie ever?
Oh boy.
The weapon, the ultimate weapon.
I wasn't sure that's where you were going, but yeah, that works. Taysom Hill works. TJ approves.
I thought there might have been a certain former Patriots tight end it could have been going with as well.
No, I don't think we ever allowed to use that one.
TJ, you want to get us demonetized over
I have used Ben Coates before, if that's who you're referencing.
Clearly, that's who he's referencing.
I was talking about Benjamin Watson.
All right,
Sudfeld, is that who you're referencing?
Daigle, you won. Shout out to you. You have to tell us what movie to watch this week, what to review next week. What do we have it whittled down? Do we have a conversation? Where are we at?
No, I'm not giving y'all a choice. I'm just going to go with it. I'm not as fun. Because most recently, what was the name? Oh, here it is. Most recently, they just released on Netflix Catherine Bigelow's most recent movie, A House of Dynamite.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to continue the trend of watching movies that I want to see. So no jokes. The holidays are over. We'll get to Thanksgiving and Christmas later on, but I want to see A House of Dynamite. So I'm just going to make us all watch A House of Dynamite and talk next week.
There you go.
That was very high on my list as well. I told my wife that I wanted to watch it. The cast just looks absolutely insane.
Let's all be nice. Let's be nice to each other ahead of the holidays. Just watch fun movies.
I like it. I think that's a good call. That's definitely on my list. The Hurt Locker, of course. Zero Dark 30. She was married to James Cameron forever ago, I believe.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a thing?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really curious to see that. And the cast, like TJ was saying, does look spectacular. All right. So yeah, A House of Dynamite. It is.
And it's on Netflix for everybody.
Rob, is there anything that anyone should watch this weekend with it being Halloween since you failed in the whole month of October?
Yeah. What did you have in the harness? What were you going to unleash that you couldn't unleash?
I don't know. I don't know what I was going to make you guys watch. I had a list. I was debating on making you watch Halloween 3 Season of the Witch because I had to watch it again, and it's not good. So there was that. What?
Oh, no, it's called Season of the Witch.
It's the one Halloween movie that doesn't have Michael Myers, which, if you didn't know, the original Halloween format was going to be an anthology series. They were going to do the Michael Myers one, and then they were going to do a bunch of different types of movies through Halloween. And then people really hated the third movie. There's some good stuff in it, but it's actually a trash movie, but people will fight you to the death over that movie. So I was debating on doing that one. I didn't know how crazy I wanted to get in the horror movie genre for you guys. I don't think I was going to make you guys watch a Terrifier movie.
I'm not watching a Terrifier movie.
Even though Daigle, Chris Jericho is in the Terrifier series, and I was on Talk is Jericho this past Monday. So, go listen to that. I don't know.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No. I always cut you off accidentally, and I caught myself doing it this time. And now that I'm monologuing, I'm doing it again. But finish your thought.
No, it's gone now. You've already ruined it, but thank you.
Damn it. We talked about it in the group chat, but it was worth bringing up on the show, too, that Jameer gives his Halloween costume dressing up as Jeff Hardy. That was really awesome.
That was sweet.
Jeff Hardy and Lita. Also, side note, I do everything in my life is basically to make sure I never have to think about either Requiem for a Dream or Husk ever again. And whenever I was going down the Zach Kreger rabbit hole and I got the Barbarian and I see Justin Long is doing this horror movie again, all I could ever think about was him and Husk. And now I am. Tusk, yeah. Here I am once again thinking about Tusk when I never want to see that movie ever again in my life because it just makes
Tusk?
Yeah. Because what rabbit hole did I go down after? Maybe I watched Parasite and then I started looking at what are similar movies. And then it also presented Battle Royale. So I watched that.
Oh, yeah.
Hunger Games, which, I've read the book, seen the trilogy. And then it also, for some odd reason, mentioned Tusk. And I'd never want to see that movie ever again.
Tusk is a wild movie.
Yeah. Don't watch it. If you're listening to this podcast, don't watch it.
No, watch it. There's
so depressing.
There's an insane cameo in this movie.
There is an insane cameo, yeah.
Just an absolutely insane cameo in Tusk that you're like, wait a minute. What are we doing here all of a sudden?
Have you seen Tusk, Dean?
It was supposed to be Quentin Tarantino, wasn't it?
I didn't know that.
I think originally that cameo was supposed to be Quentin Tarantino, and he had to do something else and pull out on it.
Well, what an upgrade they got!
I believe that's the story behind it.
I'm not trying to ask for it, but
Kevin Smith's on a podcast that I listen to all the time, and he was talking about one time.
Gotcha.
There's no rule that says that Rob could only assign a Halloween movie in October. I'm not asking for it.
It's his thing. It's his wheelhouse.
I know, but if he wants to assign,
I was asking him to tee up the audience, give a suggestion on the way out if they're watching, because Halloween's a weekend this year. It's a weekend.
What they should do, if they want to do something on Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, they can come to the Hometown Ghost Stories channel, watch our investigation of the Villisca Axe Murder House, and then hang with us in the live chat afterwards as we talk about what we found there. That's what you should do on Halloween.
This is the live podcast. People are going to be showing up as well?
No, we did the live show Friday night, but thank you for allowing me to pitch that last week, Dean. I appreciate it.
At the end of the show.
What do you want to pitch this week, Rob?
I've already done it. I made sure I got all my shit in before you hung up on us.
I'm pitching Tusk and the Andy Milonakis theme song on YouTube.
I just remember a song about the Super Bowl, which I can't talk about. That's the only thing that pops in my head. But TJ, what do you want to tell the people about? How do they find you? Where do they get your socials and all the good stuff?
agentsofandom.com, on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, on all of the socials. we have a live show this Friday, actually, talking about Star Wars Visions. It's the third volume of that. It's basically just like 20-minute animated shorts, but each one is produced and designed by a different anime studio. And so it's like a non-canon Star Wars story done by a different anime studio in a different art style each time. And they're really cool. And so my review just dropped for that one. And then our podcast for it's Friday. Then we got some exciting shows coming up for the next one I'm doing is for The Witcher. New season of The Witcher is dropping tomorrow. Actually, it's dropping on Thursday. And I'm not going to be on the podcast, but Rob, I think we're actually doing a show for it. Welcome to Derry as well.
I'm excited to actually get to watch that after this Friday. So,
Rich, tell the people where they can find you. They know, but just tell them.
Sharp Football Analysis. We are halfway through the season. How about that? So, yeah, go check out everything. If we haven't talked about a player that you wanted us to talk about, I wrote about them. So go check that out.
Appreciate y'all listening. On behalf of Rich Hribar, John Daigle, TJ Zwarich, Rob Coakley, Taysom Hill, Alexa Bliss. Who did I miss? Did I miss anybody? Who did I miss?
Bowling Pursuit.
Bowling Pursuit. The year 1985.
And Train Again. Why the hell not?
Shout out to Pat Monahan. Getting love here as well. All right. Go win something this week. We're out of here.
Liam Neeson always.
Yes.